the big show, isn't it? Wayne Carey and Richardson. But your old mate, a 5-time premiership player, Dermot Brereton, well, I don't know whether old age is catching up with him. He said a couple of interesting quotes this week. If Richardson can acquire Carey's mindset, which is not as easy as it sounds, he has the game to be the best player in the competition.
Well, it's a pretty big statement, but Dermot's never been short of words. He actually followed that up with an even bigger statement for sheer effect on the game. 2 weeks ago, I would have said Richardson was #1. But over the past 2 games, Carey has at least bridged the gap again. Now, Dermot, I don't know what you were smoking, but I will say this. Whilst Matthew Richardson is playing tremendous football, Wayne Carey is the first pick in any side as far as I'm concerned.
Have a talk to him, will you? The Roos' recent run, well, inconsistency has been their problem, Jason, and you look at that, it's a problem when they're playing sides in the top 8.
It certainly is. They snuck home against the Lions by only 2 points, but they're faced with a couple of other good sides in the Western Bulldogs and Essendon. They were pretty comfortably beaten both times, so if they're going to reassert their claim to the throne, they would need to be rather impressive tonight.
And here are the guys that are doing the damage in those matches against those top sides. Jared Malloy booted 4 up forward, who's just a raging bull there for the Lions. Chris Grant, quite outstanding, booting 6 for the Doggies in that 42-point win. And Matthew Lloyd, it's all been said about Matthew. 7 goals last week, another stellar performance. And now, tonight, they've got to handle Mr. Richardson up at the Tigers forward line. Joining Jason in just a moment is another premiership player in Ian Robertson, and the boys are going to be back to look at some of the star makers and playmakers in tonight's game.
The 1999 AFL Coca-Cola Premiership season, proudly brought to you by Telstra, making life easier. The McDonald's Footy Burger, the double quarter pounder with cheese. Foster's Light Ice for extreme refreshment, and the new Mitsubishi Magna 3.5, the next generation.
The Kangaroos and the Tigers, another beauty. Welcome, Robbo.
Yes, good on you, Jason. I like watching the Tigers. They're passionate. They do promise a lot, and maybe sometimes they don't deliver. Their supporters do get a little disappointed. But by gee, the Kangaroos' opposition is certainly going to force them to play at their best.
They certainly are. Let's have a look at some of the key playmakers tonight. We're focusing on the Kangaroos midfield, and in particular, take a look at the figures that come up on the screen. The number of consecutive games played by Shannon Grant, also Anthony Stevens, who has an incredible work rate, Peter Bell, and also John Blakey. Now, these guys have played a lot of football together. They know each other's game inside and out, as do the rest of their teammates, and that's one of the important aspects tonight, Robert.
Well, I think what you mentioned about the midfield, it's also important that when they do deliver the ball forward, if they can't maintain possession of the ball, they've got to get back and pick up their opponents, the Rogers, the Knights, the Campbells and the Daffys for the Tigers.
Well, let's hope that the questions we want answered are answered tonight, Sandy.
They're going to have to be quick and they're going to have to be direct. At this time of the evening, gentlemen, we know what it's time for. Fire up the engines and stat me up.
My objective at every opportunity is to upset and spoil the opposition.
One of the great defenders of the game is the Kangaroos' Glenn Archer. Should he go forward tonight, though, he's going to join a unique club. At the moment, he's got 99 career goals to his name. A break coming up, and then all the action's going to get underway as round 18 fires up here at the MCG.
The Kangaroos and Tigers have had more meetings on Friday Night Football than any other teams, and tonight is their 7th clash in the 90s. Let's go back to round 14, 1991. And for the 10 consecutive weeks prior to this clash, the team coming off the bye had lost its next game. But that seemed to be the last thing worrying North, as they kicked 26 goals under lights to beat the Tigers by 44 points. Then in round 3 this year, the Kangaroos kicked 3 goals in the opening 6 minutes. From that point on, the Tigers had more possessions, more centre breaks, more entries inside 50 metres, more scoring shots and more frees. But the most telling stat was a dropped mark late in the match that the Roos took complete advantage of, and they won the game by 10 points. Will tonight also be a night to remember?
Welcome back to the MCG, and Friday night football. There's been a big question mark over the young man wearing number 16 for the Tigers, Ben Holland, in doubt with a back-related hamstring. Well, you can see he's out there with his teammates, so Holland is certainly going to play. And another man who's keen to play tonight is down on the boundary line. And we welcome the Dipper. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Sandy, and welcome to you. And Bruce, get better, son. But there was a question mark regarding Ben Holland. As you mentioned, Sandy, he is playing tonight, and certainly he's fired up. Probably get the job on Wayne Carey. And congratulations on Wayne on reaching 200 games. For the bench, for the Tigers, we've got Brad Ottens, Mark Miranda, good to see him back after a long injury. Also Ross Funk, Lionel Proctor, and for North Melbourne, Sandy, we've got Robert Scott, Brady Anderson, Adam Lang, and Brady Rawlings.
Thank you, Dipper.
Good night, buddy.
Sensational night here in Melbourne, and yeah, great to see Mark Miranda back. First game of the season, been a long haul. And looking down towards Matthew Richardson, the boy from Nil, Jason McCartney's been given the job. So here we go. Round 18 is underway.
Gasper on Carey, Sandy.
Simple equation for the Tigers. They must win. Well, Gasper's reaching a milestone tonight as well as he joins the Century Club. Simpson strong out of the middle. Very, very hard.
Tough holding the ball decision there. More like pushing the back than anything else.
Adam Simpson hasn't missed a game this year. Looks up towards Carey territory. Gasper, the effective spoiler, just pushing it down towards the 50. Gee, the tackling early is as we would expect. Wayne Campbell's been in very good form. Mickey Martin, welcome back, Mick. Got players loose on the outer side. Allison's come back into this side this week. He can look towards Carey at half forward once again, and he makes no mistake. Lovely delivery.
Gee, it's a great build-up, but don't they look for Carey when they go forward? Brett Allison had all the time in the world. We might have we've got a report going on here. He has just booked Robert Powell.
Powell's name's gone into the book. He came back into the lineup this week.
Bit of push and shove going on down there too. A couple of the Kangaroos going down to Robert Powell.
And players running in from all directions too, Jason. So hopefully we can get the numbers written in the book and the kick taken as quickly as possible.
So Wayne Carey's asking if the kick is downfield.
Is it Shannon Grant that's been bopped? You just sometimes wonder. Sometimes wonder where the players are targeted. He's a very important player around the middle of the ground.
50 metres, boys.
50-metre penalty will make it a certain goal for North Melbourne.
There's no problems with targeting players, Robert, but there's a right way and a wrong way to go about it. And the one thing you don't do is turn a difficult kick, well, mightn't have been difficult for the King, but you don't turn it into a certainty like this.
So Carey's going to kick the first goal of the night, and his 48th for the season. And this is his 200th game underway. So too are the Roos.
Well, that 50-metre penalty certainly made it a certain goal, and obviously in the umpire's opinion, that incident took place after the free kick was awarded to, or after the mark was taken by Wayne Carey. So it's after this kick from Mick Martin delivered to
Brett Allison,
and then onto Carey. So it's after Carey takes the mark that the incident has occurred, and therefore the 50-metre penalty is paid. If the incident had occurred before then obviously no 50.
Maybe Robert Powell will be hoping that all the cameras just went missing there for a fleeting second, Sandy, because we believe that he has been put in the book by the umpire. Chaffee kicks the ball forward. It slips off the side of his boot. The advantage is there. Clayton not able to gather. Clay Sampson kicks it out of mid-air. Gathers about 35 metres for the Tigers. and forces a boundary throw in the right forward pocket about 25 to 30 metres around from their goal.
Already the Kangaroos are going for the kill. We've got Corey McKernan playing centre-half forward and Matthew Capuano doing the ruck work at this early stage of the first quarter. And good to see Mickey Martin back, eh, boys?
Yes, most definitely, Dipper. We just saw the weather. It's been a funny old day in Melbourne, but right now the conditions are pretty good for football. The kick forward, right into the danger zone as far as the Kangaroos are concerned, right in front of the Richmond goal, about 20 metres out, the umpire will bounce.
Good work from Jason McCartney in that one-on-one contest. There's going to be plenty of those tonight. He saw which side the ball was going to land and he fought for that position. Well done.
Martin with strength. We've become accustomed to that. Kicks the wobbly ball out to Clayton. Dragosevic, his opponent. Clayton now kicks with the right foot towards the wing, but a good mark taken by Gale.
He had the player on for the handball and he just blazed away.
Approaching 200 games is Brendan Gale. McKee gets his kick away to half forward, but getting back and taking a good mark across the half back line for the Kangaroos is Matthew Capuano. Rapt to see him playing football too. He's had a shocking run with knee injuries. Anthony Stevens, one of our playmakers that we previewed before the game started, kicks the ball in towards half forward, but Brendan Gale, another mark in defence. And Carey, what happens there, John?
Well, I think there was a certain argument for a 50-metre penalty there, but not awarded, and Benny Gale chooses to play on.
Been in very good form, Gale, in recent times, but it's slapped back towards the centre. Kellaway is there and picks it up nicely. A chance for the Tigers through holding up towards the forward line. Capuano's dropping back across half back. Takes a timely mark. Kangaroos standing firm at the moment. Here's McCartney on the outer side. Goes wide to the wing. They said to old Mick Martin, get running, old man.
Oh,
an interesting pass. It's a character in the game, and that's what we need.
I think he tried to handball over the top of his opponent and then run onto it. But I think one thing we will see tonight also, Brendan Gale and Matthew Capuano have both taken a couple of marks because you've got key forwards at either end. You'll see the ruckman playing a kick behind play and trying to shut down their effectiveness.
Capuano and Gale once again. Simpson almost threw it to Mick, who somehow just got his boot to it. Shannon Grant appears to have recovered. Delightful little pass towards him. Was it a hand pass? Carey claimed by Gasper. Prior ball from the Tigers supporters. Down goes Gasper. Up comes Scholl.
Oh, look at
Forward
this.
goes the Kangaroos. They've got the numbers there now. Waiting is McKernan, but it's spooned towards the line in a not so subtle fashion. Throw it in, says the umpire.
It was 4-on-2 in the Kangaroos' favour then, and he did not have any choice but to push that over the boundary.
The umpire right on the spot too.
Yeah, and the ball not pinned, interestingly, yet given the benefit of the doubt and play on was the call.
Is that one they seem to have relaxed a bit on, John?
His arms were pinned though.
Well, yeah, but the ball's still free, Jace. He certainly could have got a fist to it.
Oh, Bell might get a free kick. Peter Bell, 25 metres out, and almost directly in front.
Yeah, very similar to the first tackle of the match that was actually paid as holding the ball, but Peter Bell in this instance rewarded with a free kick for a push in the back.
John,
see Chaffee just jumps on him and buries him.
if you're running at full pace and you're tackling someone from behind, what do you need to do to not give away the free kick for in the back?
Well, many of the clubs actually practice turning sideways and rolling the player sideways, Jason. I think unless they change the rules, that's what they have to do.
Bell has kicked the goal. Kangaroos have got their second. He's one of 10. Who hasn't missed a game for the Kangas so far this season.
And I suppose I should say, Jace, I mean, I'm sympathetic with the bloke that's chasing from behind and has no option.
Because momentum's always going to take them forward.
That's right, but all I'm saying is the way the rules are at the moment, that's no concession. If he buries the player by pushing him in the back, then the rules as they stand.
Mind you, well, I agree with the free kick, but it just is difficult.
Yep.
Sandy, I think you mentioned also in the preview that North kicked the first 3 goals of the earlier game this year. So the Kangaroos off to a very good start. They've kicked the first 2 goals of this match. They kicked the first 3 goals of the earlier match, which was a result in their favour by just 10 points. They get the ball in the hands of McKernan to Scholl across his left shoulder, knocked away by Kellaway, gathered here by Grant, doesn't mind this circumstance, doesn't quite hook the ball the required margin and scores a behind.
Robbo, you mentioned the weather before. Important to kick a couple of early goals because light rain's starting to fall now, and I've got a feeling this just might get a bit heavier tonight.
Now you're the weatherman, Dippo.
He's unbelievable.
He is a freak.
Terrific look from the lightship there of Joel Bowden. Kicked the ball in and found Powell. He won't be very popular with the North Melbourne fans. McKernan bustling, pushing it forward. Longmire, Ellison finishes, and finishes with precision. Goal to the Kangaroos.
That is brilliant play. That all started with the great spoil by Corey McKernan. Not only did he punch the ball back towards his own goals, he then followed it up. He spoilt the next handball, tapped the ball forward. Good hands from Johnny Longmire, as we see here. Corey McKernan followed it up. Long handball to Longmire, on to Brett Allison. I thought Brett Allison actually might have run into an open goal, but he decided just to turn and kick, and he did it very, very well.
As you can see, light rain, as Dipper said.
My apologies, Dipper.
As the crowd scatters.
I told you.
I knew you'd be right, Dipper. What's the temperature in Mount Gambier tomorrow, Dip?
This is not light rain, by the way.
Oh, golly, flying start by the Tigers. You don't want to get them on the rebound. This is what's happened to Richmond. Flying start by the Roos, I should say. Richardson's kick partly smothered. Mickey Martin, well, tried to get out of trouble. Dangerously socking off the ground. Mark Chappie takes the mark.
Sandy, the Kangaroos have had 26 possessions to 13.
He started this quarter very, very well, Mick Martin, in his comeback game, showing no signs of the hamstring strain, but on that occasion he probably had time to pick it up. He just threw the leg at it. Could have gone anywhere, and it hit a Richmond player.
Big kick for Chaffee from 45. Starts at the left. Stays there. Tigers on the board, though. Down by 18 points. It's not heavy rain at the moment, but as Dipper said, we may have a few showers throughout the night. When you lead by 18 points very early on to a Holland, probably could have marked that. This is Kellaway, picks it up now 70 metres from home, goes high, look out, here comes Mickey, but he decides to leave it for his teammate and Jason McCartney. He takes it at half back. He too has made a pretty solid start. Got the job on Richardson tonight. McCartney from half back. He's done some big jobs for Denis Pagan so far this season. Benny Gale, his aerial work has been pretty good in recent weeks, and he continues it. Now a chance for the Tigers. The mark was dropped. Powell, he's already had his name taken, and he loses it this time. Here comes Winston. One bounce, Winston. You are home. Tuck it on your arm and kick number 4.
Well, I've got to say, once Winston Abraham got the ball, did he just pin back the ears and go?
And Jace is allowed to run 15 metres.
He ran 30. Watch this. Watch
After that last
3, 4,
bounce.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
But each of those 14 paces is about 2 metres.
I know, he's run a lot more than 15 metres, and the umpire certainly would have been thinking about nailing him.
Well, a terrific passage of play results in the Kangaroos' 4th goal. Kicked by Winston Abraham. The Tigers are under the pump. Campbell must get rid of it. He does, eventually, off the left. The ball lands close to half forward. Knocked away by Pickett. Gathered by Holland, away to Knights. Knights' first clear possession in the game. Little kick by Matthew Knights is terrific. His vision was good, and the kick has found Daffy. And Nick Daffy, on the run, you would say be an 80 to 85% chance. He's got a kick from a standing start here, a set shot from about 50 metres to get Richmond's first goal.
A couple of key players for the Tigers. The first kick for Matthew Knights, and now the first kick for Nick Daffy.
50 metres out, gets close to the man on the mark. High in the air, it lands the ball in the square. Plapp and Pickett forced over for a boundary throw-in. Absolute desperado, Byron Pickett.
It was. Poor play from the Tigers, though. Matthew Richardson on the goal square, 1 out with 3 tall opponents, and you've just got no hope there. Someone's got to go down and give him a bit of a chop out.
Boundary throw-in in the left forward pocket for Richmond. Capuano and Ben Holland. Sampson, still Sampson, knocked away by McCartney, and hitting the post with the ball was Anthony Stevens. The boundary umpire, very close to the action, has deemed that to be out of bounds, so he will throw it in right up against the point behind post in Richmond's left forward pocket.
Anthony Stevens approaching a milestone too. This is game number 199. As Holland flicked it out the back. Pickett came in over the top. This defence has been very good so far. Here goes Archer, tries to get through some heavy traffic. Sock it away towards Pickett again. Oh, here's danger. Should be a goal to the Tigers. Their first, and it's kicked by Clay Sampson.
Well, they had a couple of opportunities to clear it then, the Kangaroos, but they just couldn't get that long handball towards the boundary they were looking for. Glenn Archer initially did well, I thought, to get the ball over the top here under pressure to a teammate. But Peter Bell had a touch of the fumbles, and then the handball from Pickett, well, that came straight back towards the attacking area, and you just can't afford to go in that direction.
Well, you give the plaudits to the Richmond players on their forward line who just made the ball hot, didn't they?
Great pressure from the forwards, Robbo. You're spot on there.
So the Tigers closed the gap, 4-1-25 for 1-1-7. The rain has ceased.
Brendan Gale's been terrific, Sandy, early in this game.
Knights had it thumped away from him. Look at the hand pass of Scholl off to Capuano, down to the forward line once again. Gasper playing in front. He's away. Off he goes to Harrison. Tigers out of trouble to the outer side, and Nick Daffy. Daffy and Knights quiet early on, especially Knights last week, so they'll be keen to get a bit of a sniff early on. Holland defending from the back. Campbell too close to the line. It's out of bounds on that outer side.
You know, if the rain stops or stays away, we could see a terrific game of football here tonight. Yeah. I mean, there's some great players of this game on display at the cricket ground tonight.
Well, the Tigers know this is the last roll of the dice, really. They want some September action. Pretty simple equation. You come into this one with 8 wins and 9 losses. You can't afford to drop another one. Capuano's made a good start to this game, but that kick is wide and not very handsome. Out on the full, Tigers a chance to bring it back in, and they'll do so through Steve McKee.
There's a lady just right behind Ben Harrison here. She's got to be the most ardent Kangaroo fan of the last 10 or 12 years. She's just at every match and always barracking like blazes for her team.
Yeah, you're right. It was McKee who gave it to Harrison to bring it back into play. I reckon I know the lady you're talking about too, Robbo. Good to see those sort of supporters, though. Trying to storm his way through was Mark Dragicevic, was unsuccessful. Pushed down in towards the middle. Here's an opportunity up for Clayton. Clayton gives the hand pass away towards Capuano. He wobbles one back in towards the 50. They pile over the top of it. Callaway asks the question. Dragicevic there as well. Scholl comes in. We'll have a ball up.
Yeah, it looked like a poor kick from Matty Capuano. What happened was Carey was in the goal square and actually led back to the opposite side. And for a big bloke, it was probably a difficult ask to get him to quickly change direction and pinpoint a pass.
So knocked forward again by the Kangaroos, right into the hot spot as far as the Tigers are concerned. Back goes Matthew Knights, assesses, delivers beautifully, finds Harrison. Still inside his defensive 50, Ben Harrison, and he will kick the ball down towards the wing in front of the Great Southern stand. Marking contest. Richardson's a long way down. Bowden gathers the crumbs at the front of the pack. Kicks to a one-on-one. No one-on-one. Peter Bell outpointed beautifully. Took the mark. Got the ball to Capuano. Capuano kicks it forward to within scoring range. In front was McKernan. Gathered by McKee. Gets the hand pass back. Brendan Gale stands, kicks a little off the side, and taken over in the finish by Shane Clayton in front of Mark Dragicevic. And it will be thrown in left half forward flank area, favouring the Kangaroos. Go, Dip.
Otten's on and Plapp is off, and Ottens is going to play a full forward with Archer on him now.
There's your girl, Robbo. That's one of the great supporters.
Like red wine too, Sandy.
Gets better.
Mark Dragicevic gets the ball towards the wing. Daffy, Dragicevic confronted by Anthony Stevens. We had a stat of the 4 players in the midfield in our playmakers. Anthony Stevens, John Blakey, Shannon Grant and Peter Bell with something in excess of 50, maybe 60 consecutive games, each one of them. So it certainly creates some stability for the Kangaroos. Nicky Martin has the football. He's just behind the wing and he'll play on. Kicks and kicks rather ordinarily. It's a very important possession here for either side. Gathered by Allison. Little hand pass to Abraham. Winston Abraham kicks towards half forward, but only Richmond players back there, and Brendan Gale takes another mark across the half back line.
Great work by Archer then to stop that ball, because it could have been a very costly turnover. Now Harrison goes to the outer side. That's Bernard Richardson a long way from home. Long way from home is Richard.
Longby now picking up Ottens, who's now leading from the goal square.
Stevens tries to chop it off. A hurried kick by Campbell goes down towards the forward line once again. Ottens is there, and together with the horse, Johnny Longmire, sees it over the line. McCartney there to give assistance if needed. Robert Scott, one of the veterans of the game now, game number 241. Youth and experience, Brodie Anderson next to him. We've got a throw in. Longmire, Ottens doing the leaning, but the tap down in front. Stevens away. Getting some good early touches, kicks it back towards the half. That ball was obviously touched. Blakey tries to get through. Archer comes in over the top with Scholl. No one able to get it out. There'll be a ball up.
Because Longmire's now gone to full back on Ottens, Archer's now moved up the ground, probably playing around about the centre position. That's why you find him in those little huddles in the last couple of plays.
See, Campbell was fierce there in his attack on the player and the ball.
Important ball up. Kellaway, good tackle on Blakey. Gets the kick, but straight up and down. Chaffee off to Campbell. Wayne's kick in towards full forward. The bounce, a beauty for the Tigers. And Richard ambled in and he kicks his first for the night.
Well, you've got a feel for Jason McCartney there. He's been very good so far. One thing he has tried to do, we just saw Matthew Richardson a couple of minutes ago take a mark up near the wing. McCartney will play on the defensive side of him because he knows that he's very good once he turns around and heads back towards goal. Now, here he did everything right. He fought with Richardson, but once the contest was over, you've got to be aware of Matthew Richardson because he takes off at 100 miles an hour towards the goals.
Dream bounce, wasn't it, for Ottens and Richardson and the Tigers, as Richardson gets his first.
That's what makes this game so uniquely Australian, the shape of the ball. Nobody knows where it's going.
Unpredictable.
Incredible. Kangaroos get the ball clear of the centre bounce. Campbell, number 9, Allison, quick hand pass to Simpson. Simpson's right foot kick is pretty good, gets good distance. Bounce does not favour Corey McKernan. McKee tries to get it back to Bowden. Trying to crash his way through was Gaspar. Still now David King for Peter Bell. He's tackled by Callaway. Flips the ball to the back. Gaspar doing pretty well on Wayne Carey, but so is Brendan Gale. To Powell. Out into the wide open spaces of the cricket ground. Knocked away by Richardson. Gathered by Clayton. Chance for Abraham. Taken to the ground by Rogers. Still a contest. Up close. Found the free kick.
Many nights grabbed high, Robbo, and didn't have the footy in any event, so awarded the free.
So Knights from behind the centre. Lands the ball at half forward. Good mark, right? He was in some doubt as to whether he would play, young Ben Holland. And he thumps the ball to the square. And Richardson's got to get a free kick, surely. Running back in the face of the man attempting to mark the ball was McCartney.
Didn't he punch the ball, Robbo?
But I doubt whether you can do this, John.
Well, in that situation, the umpire has to determine whether it's firm contact from the front and what he's looking at. And Jason's right. He has to make contact or firm contact with Matthew Richardson. And in that case, it certainly looked as though the majority of his contact was with the footy.
Richardson plays on, and he's kicked his second at the Tigers' third.
Well, we've mentioned it before, he's very dangerous after an initial contest because he runs flat out back towards goal. And the two times that he's got the better of Jason McCartney this quarter have both been on the attacking side of him. That's doubling back and being on the goal side of Jason McCartney. As a backman, you can't do much more than playing in front of your opponent. But gee, he's dangerous as we hear a big round of applause for Mark Miranda, who's just entered the arena.
Jason, you're right. I mean, there certainly is a lot of contact with the footy with that one, isn't there? It's,
I guess his eyes were on the man, though.
Yeah, welcome back, Mark Miranda. Been a long, frustrating season. He's back for his first game. And the Tigers going long and direct to closing this gap. Stevens from the middle. Kangaroos keen to answer. Attempted mark by Matthew Rogers, going with the fly to the ball. King might make him pay. David King loves that. Thank you, baby.
I've got to tell you, that was a fair celebration after the goal from David King.
Especially directed straight at the Richmond supporters.
You want to be super critical, Jason. Is there enough talk for Matthew Rogers here? I mean, this is the aftermath, David King getting the crumbs, but Rogers was going back with the flight of the ball. He looked as though he's going to take a certain chest mark and spilt the ball, which led to King crumbing and kicking a goal.
Yeah, well, there should have been talk, that's for sure.
The definition of a quick reply. Refer D. King. Back in the middle. Good first quarter now unfolding here at the G. Simpson a short kick. Grant appears to have recovered. Abraham leaves it for Stevens. Picking up plenty. Down towards half court. Archer. Left foot snap. He needs one for his 100. McKernan can't keep it in play. Tried to emulate Matthew Lloyd. It's got to come back. It's out of bounds, Robbie Powell. Back you come. And we've got a throw in the Kangaroos' left forward pocket.
boundary umpire is certainly not in a position to determine whether that's out of bounds, but the goal umpire will see left of screen signalling the ball out of bounds by holding his arm up, so the other umpire's following.
Under 7 minutes remaining in this first quarter. Gale favoured by the throw-in and a tackle that was deemed high. He's got the free kick on the last line of defence.
Gets the hand pass away to Harrison. Harrison goes short, finds McKee. McKee, left foot kick. He's pretty good. Daffy turns and kicks it quickly down towards the wing, but getting back and bravely marking in front of Ottens. It'll be a 50-metre penalty.
Oh, you're joking.
It was Bell. Bell took the mark.
He pulled out. How soft was that?
It was very late.
Yeah, it was late, Robbo, but it did, I agree with Jason. It did look as though he's pulled up, and it's been milked. I mean, there is... Peter Bell has absolutely milked that for everything it could...
The winner of the Gold Logie, Peter Bell.
All he did basically was put his hands up to stop the impact.
Yeah, that's right. He could have run through him, but chose not to, and certainly seemed like an unwarranted 50-metre penalty.
Well, as the penalty has brought Peter Bell to within 45 metres of goal. So he can kick a goal here. Doesn't quite get onto it. Kicks it into the square and off the hands of the pack. It rolls over for a rush behind to the Kangaroos.
Robbo, north of both got their attacking backline players, Archer and King, both in the forward line, with McKernan and Carey.
And I suppose, to be fair, at normal speed, many would think that was severe contact, but it certainly
Could have killed him
like,
if he wanted to.
Yeah, he could have run right through him, Jace. I agree with you.
Might
But,
surprise you to know that Peter Bell is very high up on the free kicks received list.
Well, Ben Holland marked and then kicked down towards the wing where his opposite number 16, Capuano, took the mark and then put it on the chest of McKee. So a little bit of kick to kick here in the last 7 or 8 seconds of the game. Harrison runs across the goal at which he is defending, kicks it out wide, not a bad kick either. Bowden confronted, and that really wasn't a free kick either.
Well, in the umpire's opinion, David King's prime objective was not to spoil the ball, but rather to spoil the player. Now we see one player intent on taking the mark, and David King considered to be intent on taking out the player rather than spoiling the ball.
Well, once again, I think you'd see a lot of free kicks paid in a game of football if that was one. Allison gets it forward. Matthew Knights, well done. Couldn't quite get the hand pass away. Bell tackled by Knights. Campbell, the tackler there. Chaffee leaves it for Miranda. Miranda into the play quickly. Goes out wide. Daffy's a chance. Gathers. Loves the left foot. Left foot kick by Nick Daffy. Look at this bounce. Off to the left. Through for a behind. Didn't quite make the contact that he was desiring. And his first score in this game sees the Tigers trailing by 12 points, and we've got 5 minutes left in the term.
And they've really tightened up the Tigers, Robbo. The Kangaroos bursting out of the blocks. Richmond's hit back very hard, as you would expect. Pickett. Heads to the outer side. A couple of big flyers. Blakey waiting down, overruns it. Maybe a chance for Matthew Knights. Busy, but taken over the line. Rain has cleared. A cool night. Wayne Campbell. Some of the Tigers are waiting their opportunities. Good to see Mark Miranda already getting a chance. Stevens could have been held. Campbell pounces on Simpson. Goes to the line. We've got another throw in.
The Tigers bench when they started was Ottens, Miranda, Funky and Proctor. And right now I think I saw Sampson warming the bench. And certainly Funky was there as well.
And Dragozevic.
Oh, well done, Dipper. Ottens wins it with the right hand. Bowden will keep it in play. Mickey Martin controlled that beautifully. Snared it well, almost on the half volley. Kicks back to the half back line. Abraham needs someone going past. Gets it in. King goes up towards centre wing. Allison's lurking in the middle. Now he might have to put his skates on. No free kick.
Joking.
Jason can't believe it. Allison keeps going. Goes to ground. So too did Proctor. Powell tries to get it out the back. The danger signs are here for the Kangaroos now as Grant flicks it wide to Carey. Carey's a long way from home. First one way. He's going further from home. Bounces it back towards King. King up towards half forward. Now they're inside 50. They need a rover.
It's Archer going for his 100th goal. Hasn't come his way as yet. The Knights tackle is good. Kellaway's away. The Tigers are away. Back towards the centre. Daffy does the roving work. Richmond's got a chance to go forward. Bowden again needs help, and he gets it. Campbell rips through the middle, up towards half forward. They want Richardson. They want Richardson. McCartney's there with him. Slams it clear. McKee is lurking. McCartney's hand pass. They're not out of trouble yet. Pickett gets it away. Sensational. Back towards Blakey and Martin. And finally, McMartin clears it away.
I'll tell you what, if they'd have got a goal there, Richmond, it would have been absolutely against Byron Pickett's immediate odds.
Kicking in danger. Yeah, Benny Gale looks hurt.
Callaway, play goes on. Ben Holland goes out wider still. McKee, who's he got to kick to? Goes in towards centre half forward. High fly, Ottens, and he's named it all over the Sherrin, and he's grabbed a strong mark. He's knocked the end off the football with that grab. As we see Brendan Gale in the hands of the medical staff. Chris Bradshaw very quickly onto the scene. Let's hope he's okay. He's coming off for a closer check, I'm sure. But the football is with Brad Ottens, and he's got a chance to bring the margin back to just 6 points if he can kick accurately.
Yeah, it just looks like he got the thigh or the knee to the head. It certainly was accidental, but ever since Carey didn't get paid that free kick, the umpires put the whistle away for about 2 minutes. It is full on here. Byron Pickett was magnificent down there, and it took a clean mark, and a very good one at that, from Ottens to actually get the whistle to blow.
Started on the bench, but may kick a Richmond goal early. He has. It's a good kick. Ottens kicks his first goal. Richardson has kicked 2. Sampson has kicked 1. All singles for the Kangaroos. The Kangaroos lead by 6 points.
I'll tell you what, we mentioned earlier that they're probably playing for their finals possibility tonight. Honestly, they looked in danger of being blown away after 10 minutes into this first quarter. I think Jeff Geeshan would be very, very happy to be only 6 points down with a couple of minutes left in the first quarter.
So the 19-year-old from Glenelg originally gets his first goal. Shannon Grant tries to whip it out of the middle for the Kangaroos. Goes down towards half forward. Chopped off by Bowden and McKee, who combine. Back towards half forward. Mickey Martin couldn't take it. Miranda's hand pass very, very quick for Kellaway. He's equal to the task. Now they go forward again through Chappie. In towards centre half forward. Belted clear. Too high for Miranda, but only just. Almost back to centre half back. And they just pile upon one another.
Gee, the spoil from Glenn Archer wasn't that desperate. He leapt early, he jumped over the top, and he got a fist to the ball when it looked to be a pretty good kick coming in from Chaffee.
At half forward for the Tigers. Capuano winning it. The duck, Nick Daffy. Again, Martin controls it well. Gives it away to Shannon Grant. Grant kicks wide towards the wing. Allison, the left footer, did well. Now he's besieged. It's held up just in the Kangaroos attacking zone. And another ball up.
Sandy Benny Gale's okay, and he's just sitting out the rest of this quarter, so I expect him to be back on the ground at the start of the second quarter.
Yeah, thanks, Dipper. He's got 1 minute and 10 seconds before the siren sounds as Harrison. I reckon he's looking forward to that siren. Ottens beaten by Capuano. Time, though, for the Kangaroos here to snare another one. Shannon Grant takes the hand pass from David King and kicks down towards the half-forward line. Big mark taken inside 50.
How good was that kick?
That was a great kick, and the other good thing about that was when David King looked up, he was probably in 2 minds whether to throw it on the boot or handball out. He saw Shannon Grant, who was the left footer, and it was on the perfect side for Shannon Grant to hook it back and hit young Brady Rawlings, who's just come onto the ground.
First kick coming up, and wouldn't it be nice? 32 seconds remaining in the quarter.
Bit of support from Devonport for these two boys, Brady Rawlings and Ben Harrison, both having originated at Devonport.
And Brady will be very happy because he's kicked a very timely goal. Rawlings gets his 4th for the season, his first for the night, and a very handy steadier to again open up a 2-goal break.
And just when the Tigers had fought back, there's nothing worse in the coach's mind than watching their team concede a goal with only 16 seconds left there. That is the most annoying thing as far as a coach is concerned. Late goals, when you've done all the hard work, you let them off the hook with an easy one like that.
Good 10-goal first quarter, though. 6 to the Kangas, 4 to the Tigers. And time for another one from one side if they can rip it out of the middle. Capuano again. Beaten by Ottens. Bell taken to ground by Chaffee. That could just about end proceedings. Real little goer, Peter Bell. Originally from Fremantle. Has played every game. Capuano belts it down right on the siren. Good first quarter here as round 18's underway. Mickey Martin back. Wayne Carey easing into his 200th game. Got a flying start when a 50-metre penalty gave him a goal in the square. But he's been relatively quiet, just a couple of kicks to date. 1 mark. But we shouldn't say that. There's still 3 quarters to go. We know what he can do. Kangaroos lead 38-26. Back here at the MCG, Friday night football, big first quarter. The Kangaroos away to a flying start. The Tigers have pegged them back. 6-2-38. Richmond a 4-2-26. A magnificent night here in Melbourne. Look at that moon. Talk about creativity. It reminds me of the footy panel, and of course you can see them in action on Sunday mornings. Rex, Bob and Ron, and special guests this week, David Neitz, Andrew Thompson and Brent Gergich. All that coming your way on Sunday morning here on 7. And if you're not watching that on Sunday morning, if you pop down to your Mitre 10 store, you'll probably find Robbo there.
Oh, you're joking.
Nah, yeah, absolutely. One of the handymen of the year.
Yeah.
And who can blame you for going to the Mitre 10?
Tool man.
Because you can be...
You are joking.
I'm not touching that on.
I knew you had to humour this night up somehow.
But you've got the chance of winning tickets to the Brownlow Medal, even the grand final, if you want to be in our quiz. And you can be in it right now simply by dialing 1902 555 628 and answering this very simple question. Who kicked 10 goals for the Roos last week? Who kicked 10 goals for the Roos last week? And what was the last thing Robbo bought at a Mitre 10 store? Quickly down to the senior forecaster at the Bureau of Meteorology, Dipper.
Yeah, Sandy, we'll just... I'll come back to you, mate.
Thank you very much. You'll see him in Mitre 10.
The game has just started. I love it when the coach says to his team, you had a go. And that's one thing Jeff Keeshan said to his side there at quarter time. He said, you had a go, you dug in, and the back line for the Tigers really played well the last 15 minutes, Sandy.
Yeah, you're right. They came back very hard, 6-2 to 4-2, going into the second quarter here, Friday night football, and a big start. Bowden's kick is high. Difficult one for Daffy, Kellaway and co. So it's the latter who belts it clear. Clayton's in all sorts of bother. Does get out of trouble. Look at that. No big pardons here tonight.
I reckon Daffy's in trouble, boys, down the Tigers forward line.
Stevens does well. He gets it down towards half forward. McKernan swings round in a wide arc like the Titanic, and then he goes long. Carey's at the back. Good work in front. Allison pops it out to try and accommodate Scholl. Can't do anything with it. Miranda's in trouble behind play. Winston's going for goal. Might have just missed. Mark Miranda coming back in his first game. Might have just had the wind taken out of his...
And Nick Daffy's in trouble as well. At quarter time, he was having some back stretches done, and he's just down doing his shoe up, his boot lace up now. But just keep an eye on him. He's not moving too well.
Sandy, that was good work by Mark Miranda. I think he had the stuffing knocked out of him when he effected the tackle, but it didn't stop him from hanging on, which was great discipline.
Campbell in the back pocket. Staying on the ground. Campbell thinks about one way, then goes to the outer side, and Harris. From one back pocket to the other.
Suggesting that Daffy can't run now. Keep an eye on him.
It is a poor kick. Bowden was the spoiler. McKee is going to tidy up with Bowden. He's got Rogers running. Good signs here for the Tigers. Into half forward. Pickett showed courage. Bell is there as well. Could have almost given away the free kick on Miranda. Held him for a long time. No whistle. Some disgruntled Tiger fans. And Mark Miranda not happy.
I think he's actually telling the umpire that he was held by the jumper. Do you reckon?
I think so.
Huh?
Well, he certainly was retarded by the right arm of Peter Bell, wasn't he?
And did everything right, got the handball away, and was obviously unhappy when he was held onto beyond that.
So the bounce, the resultant bounce, the crumbs taken away by Martin. His kick wide, knocked away by Powell was good play. Like to see Joel Bowden in a positive position on the ground. Powell in towards full forward. Miranda knocked away by Pickett. Martin to help out. Now, if you have a close look at that, it may have just hit his foot.
That's close. I reckon he's kicked it out of his own hands. But did it leave the ground when he kicked it?
Well,
bounced on the line, didn't it?
And I suppose more importantly, he really does try to look as though he's just fumbling it over when he's probably done it intentionally, just disguised it well.
Daffy's kick. Richardson couldn't take the mark. Grant knocks it clear for a boundary throw in, and Grant just getting up a little gingerly. They've certainly targeted Shannon Grant, the Tigers, because every time he goes near the football, there's a lot of physical pressure put on the number 6 for the Kangaroos. Capuano and Brad Ottens. Ottens a goal kicker in the first term. Can't take that ball away. Capuano gets it out wide. This is Clayton for the Kangaroos. Straightens up and kicks the ball out towards the wing. The crumbs at the back gathered by Gaspar. Carey looks up with anxiety written all over his face. The umpire has made the decision.
Paid for a high tackle, Robbo.
A free kick to Darren Gaspar. Out wide, Brendan Gale recovered from that knock in the first term. Kicks the Tigers into their forward 50. Contest, marking contest. The ball spills out to Archer. Archer has a look down the ground, kicks in the direction of Allison and Powell. Powell looks at the umpire. The whistle has gone, has it?
Yep. Powell will go to free kick, against Allison for marking interference.
It looked like he spoiled the ball.
Did a lot in the meantime.
And you just get the feeling the first goal in the second quarter, if it goes to the Tigers, this game could really open up. Capuano. Fifth mark to Capuano, but it means nothing now. It means nothing. Here come the Tigers with a duck. Nick Duffy has his fans out of their seats.
And I tell you what, he's run all the way down to full forward to thank Matthew Richardson, who put a great smother on when Matthew Capuano played on. Richo stuck out the arms, applied the smother, and hasn't Nick Daffy's left foot just improved out of sight? He has just swooped onto that and nailed it with a penetrating low, long kick from 50 metres. That is great finishing.
A big goal at this time of the game for the Tigers.
Great work, Sandy, because I just mentioned the first couple of minutes of that quarter, he wasn't moving too well. Great goal by Daffy.
He looked all right there, didn't he? Well, the Kangaroos have had the ability to show that they can reply very smartly. Rawlings' hand pass goes slightly astray. Bell wobbles it high, wobbles it long. They stand their ground, and Kellaway takes the mark on the last line of defence. This is Duncan's brother, Andrew, to Wayne Campbell. Desperate Tigers at the moment at the MCG.
He's changed his tack on a game of football, Wayne Campbell, too, I reckon, in the last... since he came back with all of those question marks over his contract.
Handled the pressure very well as he goes to Powell at half-back. Robert Powell.
Good chance here.
Set something up for Rogers. The left foot is away. Rogers looks down towards the 50. There were two of them standing in line. Holland followed by Richardson.
Richardson did all right there.
He did. He protected Ben Holland's back very, very well. But what about the left foot kick from Matthew Rogers? He just, look at the confidence to play on with a man right on him, throw it on the left boot, and that is right on the money, Ben Holland. Well done, Richo. Pulled out, protected the back of his teammate, and he could have got pretty badly cleaned up, Ben Holland, backing in like that.
Just on Adam Simpson there, Jason, he just waited till Rogers took the mark and then started chasing him. He should have chased him a little bit further, a bit quicker.
Holland, 30 goals, 17 behinds for the season coming into this game. Slow, deliberate approach. Starts it right. That's where it's going to start.
I'll just give you the benches for Richmond. Dragozevic, Justin Platt, Ross Funk, and also Clay Sampson.
Thanks, Dipper. Keeping us up to date with, well, it's an interesting part of the game now, the interchange players and how the coaches use them to try and create a mismatch on the field. Brendan Gale, disciplined punch from behind. Chaffey found some space. Matthew Knights, can he get past? Decides to hand past to Holland. Holland to Miranda. Knocked away by Pickett. Bell's caught. Richardson and Martin. Martin gives it up. Campbell's kick smothered. Martin pretty good. Just to a space, really. Bowden missed the ball. Away goes David King. Gathers beautifully.
Great shepherd, Abraham.
Kicks with the right foot now. David King gets good distance to half forward. Gathered by Andrew Kellaway. Handball's out wide. Brendan Gale probably best on the ground as far as possessions are concerned. The punch back towards the centre. It may favour the Kangaroos. Blakey. Scholl. Gives away a little bit of meterage to Bell. Bell towards half forward. Mark taken by McKernan. A little too easy. He's a big man to get around. I acknowledge that. But Corey McKernan, probably a little bit more pressure could have been applied by McKee in that circumstance.
He made it look easy, Robbo.
That was far too easy. He had to, look, he didn't have a run and a jump. He had to stand there. He had the tall opponent, McKee, and also Kellaway that had the run up. They should have jumped into his back and punched it away, but they just let him stand and jump without even putting so much as a bump on him.
Well, he's a big man. He's got huge presence on the football field, and he might cap this mark off with a goal. It's a lovely long kick. May not have the accuracy he was looking for. And the theatrics continue at the cricket ground.
Sampson back on, Robbo. Sampson back on and Miranda off. Actually, Sampson's just about to come off again. I think Justin Platt, no, he's staying on now. There you are.
Mark Miranda just being eased back in his first game for the season. Gale's in front, belted clear. Capuano goes again. Bowden, a hurried kick, just goes in towards the centre. Simpson takes them up. Well, the Tigers are throwing absolutely everything, including the kitchen sink.
Oh,
great. Look at that. Corey again. A Cadbury's contender, maybe.
I tell you what, he wasn't in position to take that mark, and in the end, he wrapped those big hands around it, reminiscent of Stuart Lowe. It was almost like a cricket ball in his hand then. Have a look at this. He's pointed, he wanted it one way, and then got kicked behind him. He had to stop, backtrack. Look at the eyes only on the ball. He had to leap across the pack, and look at the hands grabbing that.
Gee, that's good, isn't it? I mean, good vision for...
there it is, holding it like an apple.
Did look like a tennis ball or an apple or something similar.
Let's see what he can do, the 96 All-Australian champ.
Oh, shank.
Not good. Couple of behinds in as many minutes. And, just gets the old jaw working again with Denis Pagan. 6-5 plays 5-3, so only the one goal scored so far in this quarter. That was by the Tigers and kicked by Nick Daffy. Oh, but the Kangaroos are going to get another chance here. That's a poor kick by Powell. Will he be made to pay?
Umpire's down.
Half forward. Gale, who's been very good, gives it to Kellaway. Floating kick comes up towards centre wing. Martin's going to be in trouble. He is, but he gets it away. Scholl took his eye off the ball. Campbell handled it like a hot potato, almost threw it out towards Holland. Beautifully pinned. One Hill.
Come on, umpire.
Great tackle.
Perfect tackle, actually. Pinned one arm.
You've got to reward that tackle.
That's right. I mean, he's got to try to kick it to a handball. If one arm's pinned, then he's got to try to dispose of it by foot, and that is a great tackle. So it just hovers there, and you can't do that.
So the umpire forced to bounce, and an ordinary one at that. And now he's going to give a free kick to the Tigers. Gee, I'll tell you what, that passage of play left a lot to be desired. Kick forward by Ben Holland. Chance here for Callaway, but he's outpaced by Bell. Runs away with the footy, back in towards centre half back. Kicks in favour of the Tiger, and a big leap from behind by Rogers. He's taken the mark. He's got a player at half forward too, providing the lead, but he ignores that and goes into the left forward pocket. It's going to come off. Richardson, a long way out in front of McCartney, has marked, and no doubting Matthew Richardson's ability to kick the distance. Only the accuracy in question at this stage.
Beautiful pass from Matthew Rogers, just waiting for Richo to make the lead and then putting it out in front. All started when Peter Bell, instead of playing the boundary, decided to go back into the corridor. It was a dangerous kick, which resulted in Matthew Rogers taking that great mark.
6-5 to 5-3. Richardson to close it to just 2 points. Misses off to the right and scores a behind. So the margin is 7 points at the cricket ground. The Kangaroos lead. A pretty good crowd here tonight too. A lot of discussion about crowds during the week at AFL matches this year. Now the ball with Archer. Archer kicks it forward for the Kangaroos in the direction of McKernan. He bashes it clear. Not able to quite gather it was Rawlings. That's off the ground by McKee on the full. And quickly onto it is Rawlings.
He's on centre wing. Brady Rawlings. Gale's at half back defending. He's in the pack. And again, there's been a free kick going the way of the Tigers. Carey a little mystified. A push, Dom?
Yes, it paid for a push, Sanders.
Gale has been very, very good. Big Benny Gale, Andrew Kellaway on the outer side. Looks up towards half forward. A couple going very, very early. Archer again defends. Goes to the open spaces where Abraham controls it magnificently. Brings it back in towards the centre and he pinpoints Blakey. Blakey's away to Peter Bell. Kangaroos are away. Capuano streaming down the forward line. They may even bother to use him. Clayton goes for home. And what's he done? Away to the left. Gee, he had Capuano streaming down this side of the ground.
They need to be careful, the Kangaroos. They've had 3 or 4 opportunities in the last 5 minutes and they've wasted them all. And all of a sudden, if you don't put a space on them when you've got the ball, they'll be under immense pressure when the Tigers start kicking a couple of goals.
6-6 to 5-4. Bowden to the outer side. Campbell a roundhouse right down towards Gasper and Carey. Carey's hassled and hustled and bustled and held. Jason can't believe it. Play goes on. Campbell somehow gets through some heavy traffic, gives it to Harrison. Harrison goes down towards Platt. He can't take it. Byron Pickett is there. And Pickett will take it on the last line of defence.
It looked as though Jason, as Jason said, it looked as though Wayne Carey was held twice without the footy then, but not awarded the free.
Pickett finds Clayton. Clayton in turn into the centre of the ground. Matthew Knights. How did he get through there? The invisible man, Matthew Knights. He beautifully threaded his way through and then kicked the ball out towards right half foot. Otten's tried to take a one-hander. You don't often get away with that with Mickey Martin on your tail. Martin appealing for the free kick will get it.
And just a classic one, Robbo. Dragged the ball under once it was almost free. Yep. Once he dragged the ball under and the legal tackle was laid, here we see the ball almost comes out and he drags it back under. Martin tackles him, holding the ball if you don't punch it out straight away.
The ball in the hands of Glenn Archer. He arches the back, kicks towards half forward. Gathered there by Rawlings, can't break away. Rogers quick to his feet. Callaway to help him. Gasper, back to Callaway, back to Bowden. Gets his right foot to it. Lobs the ball near centre wing. A real contest there between Simpson, Knights and Campbell. Bell tries to squeeze a kick away. So does Blakey. The contest there was enormous. Brendan Gale to Bowden, and the Tigers have the ball at half forward. Yeah, the mark has been taken by Richardson. Go, Jace.
That is a soft free kick.
Richardson goes for goal, hooks the kick, and scores a behind.
It was a great contest of strength. Matthew Richardson had fought hard to hold the front spot, and he wasn't being dragged away from it. I mean, McCartney's allowed to apply pressure from behind. In the end, Richardson took the mark, but he paid the free kick a couple of seconds before that, and it was just a poor decision.
You're going to have to be quick, Mick. You're gone.
Well done, Platt. Very well done by Justin Platt. He was going to be, it was about 5 metres away and kept going. Great chase.
He's actually gone there because he actually bounced the ball while Platt had laid the tackle. So 2 infringements then by Michael Martin because he then unsuccessfully tried to handball after he'd had an opportunity to dispose of it before the tackle. So,
now, John,
yeah.
If you've actually let go of the ball to bounce before you get tackled, is it still a free kick?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so it's any part of the action.
Yep.
I just thought it was line ball, whether he got rid of the ball before he actually got grabbed.
Yeah, even if he's tackled after he's disposed of it, it's still a free kick.
Okay.
Justin Platt's first kick. Have a look at this. Oh! 1 kick, 1 goal. The Tigers are within 1 point.
Well, if there's one thing we've seen at both ends of the ground, it's great pressure by the forwards trying to keep the ball in their forward attacking 50 zone. And on this occasion, Justin Platt, Mick Martin thought he had a paddock to run in, and look at the desperation, the grimace on the face. He grabbed him, he dragged him down. And Mick, I'm sorry, you've played a great game tonight, but you're caught, and it's cost your team a goal.
Well, I think importantly for Justin Platt, not much as far as statistics are concerned, but an important one there.
Big goal by Justin Platt, and the margin is just 1 point. Kangaroos lead. Tigers doing the bulk of the attacking in this quarter. Bell goes down towards Allison. He's spelled. Scholl tries to sock off the ground, then has to go again. McKee loses out on this occasion. Taken by McKernan. It's a high ball. It's a rainmaker. In towards the square. Carey, the king, steadies in game number 200. And kicks his second.
I tell you what, you could pick that coming a mile off. As soon as the ball got skied, Wayne Carey was about 30 yards away and he just bolted. He is the best at running with the flight of the ball. Darren Gasper got lost a little bit looking at the ball. Carey brushed past him and he just took an easy chest mark on the fly. He doesn't care what's coming in the other direction. He does not have a fear in the world. Ran into an open goal. Gasper's done a great job on him tonight, but it's just little acts like that that set him apart from the rest.
Yeah, just 3 kicks to Wayne Carey so far in this game, but importantly, 2 of them have been goals, and
there's a blood rule here on Matthew Capuano. He's got a scratch in his knee, and as I look down the forward line, boys, we've got Archer now playing on Richo.
McKernan goes onto the ball as we watch Capuano go to the bench. Longmire, another tall player. Now Longmire will go into the centre bounce. And McKernan resumes. That looks like Ross Funke, is it, onto the ground too for the Tigers.
He's come on as well.
And who came off there, Dip? Did you notice?
Chaffey, I think, Robbo.
Yeah, Chaffey.
Okay, so a few changes being made. We've got 6 3/4 minutes left in the first half. It has been a very entertaining first half. Kangaroos got off to a flyer, kicking the first 3 goals, but Richmond have shown a lot of character. in making a real contest of it. And presently, the Kangaroos lead by 7 points, 48-41, as Bell kicks the Kangaroos into their forward half. What a top performance by Callaway, not paid the mark. Bowden just gets his left foot to it, but not as far as he would have liked. Bell hooks the kick and does it very well. Abraham couldn't take the mark. Did he get it at the second grab? If he didn't get that, he got a knee in the belly.
And he was just about held while he was trying to take the second grab as well. A bit stiff not to get it, Winston Abraham. He got the first touch there, and look, you tell me he didn't get held back out of it then. The ball still landed on top of his chest. It's almost a mark.
In the end, spoiled by Adam Simpson.
He's coming on, I think, boys.
Big stats for Peter Bell, 11 kicks, 5 hand passes, and he's kicked a goal. In the hands of the trainers is Abraham, gathered by Carey, kicks the ball across his left shoulder in the area of McKernan. McKernan tries to get his foot to the ball. Bell handballs towards the front of the goal. Funky, Blakey, Ellison will kick a goal, won't he? No, he'll hit the post. Brett Ellison, 1 goal, 1 against his name.
Looks like he's in a bit of trouble, Winston Abraham. He's got a pretty nasty limp as he comes off there.
So some real action on the bench as we have another look at Peter Bell. It was his teammate in Adam Simpson who crashed into him and has forced him to take his place. That's Winston Abraham, of course, who is now on the bench.
Good work by Shane Clayton then to keep that ball in the area. There's another angle of
you could just see his left ankle. His left ankle got caught underneath him as he went down there.
Yeah, spot on, Jason. That's what they're looking at the moment, bud.
Gale, taken away by Anderson, stopped by Andrew Kellaway at fullback. Away to Matthew Knights. Kick number 5, so again a reasonably quiet start for him. He's got Powell, drifts it in towards the centre again. A kick that's off target. David King takes it from Scholl. King's 50 out, chips across the top. Not a good one. No mark taken. Kellaway, the hand pass to Campbell, intercepted also. The Kangaroos sensing they can do something. McKernan back to King. King onto the right boot, kicks it high. And there's away to the left, one behind.
Jason, they've had their chances, haven't they?
They certainly have. Look, he saw the loose player at the last moment, and the chip across was just a little bit strong. But again, good pressure once the ball spilled to the ground. Good pressure from the Kangaroos forwards to create another chance. It's certainly been pretty hot at both ends of the ground tonight.
Powell this time will bring it in. Well, they can't afford to lose Winston. He hasn't missed a game so far this season and has been quite dynamic. Speaking of dynamic, a big mark by McKernan again, but a free kick.
Yeah, Tigers free kick for a push in the back prior to that marking contest.
Gale has been very effective. 6 kicks, 6 hand passes, 5 marks. Down towards half forward. Here's a chance for Knights. Scoots away, he's inside 50. Matty Knights goes for goal and gets it. One behind.
Interesting to see Glenn Archer picking up Matthew Richardson. They've obviously decided to go with a smaller, perhaps quicker player that can run him up and down the ground.
You talk of wasted opportunities there, ones the Tigers can't afford to miss either. Clayton again, effective hand pass to Martin. Around the body goes Mick, up towards centre wing. Bowden at the bottom, sneaks the hand pass away. Maybe here they can start something up. Towards Knights, interception by Pickett, too late. Knights gives it away. The shot in towards goal, blazed by Nick Daffy, and we've got another behind.
Gee, Justin Clapp had done everything right. He judged the ball better than Byron Pickett, which is an interesting matchup because you'd think that Justin Clapp perhaps a bit taller and better in the air. He judged it perfectly, and by handballing towards the boundary, he just put Nick Daffy on a tighter angle, and whilst you'd back him most of the time, missed it on that occasion. That's another important miss.
Left foot, he probably would have kicked it, Jason.
Yeah.
Anthony Stevens for the Kangaroos, close to half-time. Out in the direction of Carey and Gasper. Crumbs gathered by King, kicks over his left shoulder. Bit of a mongrel punt kick back towards the wing, good punch away. Gathered by Knights, gets the ball to Callaway, tackled by Scholl. Ball locked up by Brady Anderson and Craig Scholl, and the umpire will call for a bounce right on centre wing in front of the players' interchange area, which part of is being worn by Winston Abraham. We saw him come off, a clash between he and Adam Simpson just a few moments ago. Kangaroos get the ball forward through Anderson. Good gather by McKernan, wasn't it?
Oh, this
he
would be a
spins
goal.
around. He goes for goal and kicks another behind. Gee, they've been mounting, haven't they?
That would have been a spectacular individual goal, but we've had golden opportunities at both ends, probably 4 or 5 for the Kangaroos and a couple for the Tigers, that have all gone to waste.
You know, this Winston on the boundary line, boys, is okay. He's actually changed his boots. He's gone from screw-ins to moulded soles, so curious to see if he takes his place at three-quarter time, but he seems to be running okay.
Yes, we're watching now on screen there, Dipper, and of course Matthew Capuano, Robert Scott, along with Abraham. The kick in. McKernan has kicked 3 behinds in this game so far, and in this quarter the Kangaroos have kicked 1 goal 7.
Well, here's a chance for Stevens to make amends. Anthony Stevens does. Steve-O gets his first in game number 199.
I'll just say one thing, it's amazing, and in particular it happens a lot from kick-outs. The Kangaroos have a great knack for having the players in the sort of position where if the ball does spill free, they're on their right side for being a left or a right footer. I think they just position themselves well, and Anthony Stevens being on that side of the ground, I mean, knock it back in the corridor, all of a sudden you've got a left footer, slots it through.
Well, they got to within 1 point, but now Anthony Stevens has rocketed that out. 43 plays, 57. Knights tries to crash his way through.
A couple of words there from the King, Wayne Carey.
A little psychological battle going on as they disentangle themselves. Knights himself in the 200 club. He's got 211 games to his name. He's probably just saying to the King, welcome. At the moment, the Kangaroos have regained the ascendancy. Stevens did well, wanted it, went in and got it, and bought it out. Powell had his name taken, we believe, earlier in the game. He'll be busy on Monday night. Rogers onto that lovely left foot, kicks towards centre wing, and there he goes.
It's the second time Matthew Rogers on his left boot has found the target in heavy traffic.
And Richo almost caught one high then. He's on centre wing, clears the eyes and kicks up towards half forward. Dragicevic was waiting down but couldn't take it. Kellaway can, needs help, goes back towards Campbell, pops it up in the air, way up in the air for Darren Gasper. He was taken high, said the umpire. Carey can't believe it. Gasper's got the ball. Doing pretty well. Kicks to a lead. The lead of Richardson comes off his knee. Kangaroos not out of trouble yet. Here's Blakey. Does well. He wants McKernan. Hasn't got him. He's got Kellaway waiting down in front of the pack. McKee finishes with it. First one way, then the other. Andrew Kellaway. The hand pass is clear. Campbell. Almost taken high by Simpson. Now he's under the pump. Loses it. Kellaway to tidy up again. And he does to Rogers.
Rogers quickly onto his right boot. But a good mark taken by Stevens just behind the wing. Away to Bell. Bell to try and set something up. Longmire. Pickett streaming down the ground. Goes straight towards goal. McKernan couldn't take the mark from behind Brendan Gale. Mopped up beautifully by Knights. Gathers and then kicks down towards the wing. Good kick too. Finds Bowden. Bowden can give the hand pass away. He does to Gale. Gale's left-hand hand pass, Powell. Beautiful running by Harrison.
Great pressure.
Kick slews off the side of his boot. Longmire. Game of centimetres, isn't it? Archer finds Allison, and all of a sudden that turnaround that looked promising for the Tigers finishes with the Kangaroos. They've got the ball nearly up to half forward. Anderson's kick beautifully smothered off the boot, and the siren ends proceedings in the first half here at the cricket ground. Friday night football, the Kangaroos and the Tigers. Jeff Geeshan, very serious look on his face. The Tigers were confronted by a 3-goal deficit early in the first term. They got to within a point of the Kangaroos in that second quarter, but at halftime the Kangaroos hold a 14-point advantage. They're 8 goals 9 to Richmond 6 goals 7.
But the Kangaroos in that quarter booted 2 goals 7. We spoke of the opportunities that they had. They're only 14 points clear at the long break. Wayne Carey is the only multiple scorer for them. He has got 2, whilst for the Tigers, Matthew Richardson, the other big gun on the big show tonight, has 2. 14 points at half-time. Had a couple of showers earlier on in the evening, but it would appear at the moment that the rain has cleared, and a wonderful night looking over the top of the MCG from the Goodyear blimp. We get a marvellous view, and that's where they're looking down from. Hope you're enjoying it up there as we are enjoying it here at half-time in this match between the Kangaroos and the Tigers. It is the Kangaroos holding sway. A couple of late goals, 8 goals, 9, 57. After Richmond got to within a point, they are 6 goals, 7, 43. As round 18 is underway, one of the regular features on Friday Night Football, is time now to check out and what is going on.
Saturday, Melbourne versus Geelong. Here's our chance to congratulate Gary. What a marvellous career. Now's time for your side to play with pride and finish out the year. The Cats blew another lead.
But this time it seemed a little shifty.
Fair enough about the 3, but what about the 50? St Kilda versus Adelaide. The Demons were beaten, but the Demons remain. Almost another disaster. A 4-quarter effort is what your fans want, so give them what they're after. A win for the Crows last week.
But now it's only memories that are sweet.
Maybe this week you've got a chance for a 97 repeat. Saturday night, Sydney versus Essendon. It's crunch time up in Sydney. Can Plugger see them right and bring an end to the Bombers like he did that famous night?
Oh, he's a handsome devil, young Matthew.
But just how good's he gonna be? Not bad if he repeats his performance against Sydney in round 3. West Coast versus Collingwood. It seemed West Coast were finished almost as soon as the game had begun.
Hello! Even the king of comedy
had the Weagles on the run. Collingwood if they could, but they can't, so it's the spoon. For the Magpies next season can't happen too soon. Sunday, Port Adelaide versus the Brisbane Lions. They're starting to believe themselves at Port, starting to take their chances. Now there's no stopping the mighty power. Just look at Fabian Francis.
in the jungle, the funny jungle, the Lions are doing it right.
The West Coast won it by 100 points. What an awesome sight. Carlton versus the Western Bulldogs. Blues bounce back. Beaumont bags 8. Now it's the co-tenants at Optus. Both are waving their fate. Those doggies did it again. The Houdinis of the AFL. If you're winning, don't count the points. They're never beaten till the final bell. Hawthorn versus Fremantle. It seems so long ago, that premiership in spring. More Hawthorn disappointment. It's got a familiar ring. Last week the Dockers came so close to their first ever 3 in a row. And with boys like Brodie Holland, the club will surely grow.
Game next, then a break.
Yes, there it is. What is going on in round 18? Some fantastic games coming your way, and don't forget, wherever you may be viewing, just check your local guides for details. 14 points is the margin here at the moment in favour of the Kangaroos. Looking ahead each week, of course, don't forget to join us for the games. Fantastic program lined up this week, and some of the features include our marathon man, turning elder statesman, the mum spending $400 a week to feed her Olympic army, and we reveal the true story of the medal lost in an Aussie lake. It's all coming away on the games. As I said, the Kangaroos leading by 14 points here at the MCG as we take a break.
Welcome back to the MCG Friday Night Football. If you may have just joined us, the Kangaroos have a slender 14-point lead at half-time. At quarter-time, they led by 12 points, so they've extended it by just 2. Time now to check out our Friday night drill opener, and we'll have a look at it now with some of the action so far in the first half. And joining me for that is Jason Dunstall. And Jason, we talked about Matty Richardson, we talked about Wayne Carey. Each of them 2 goals today, but by gee, there have been some desperate acts in this first half.
They certainly have. The match has been played at a pretty frenetic pace. We see an early tackle from Gaspar on Carey. He's done a great job. He's restricted Carey to something like only 3 kicks, even though there have been a couple of goals there, but didn't he bury him on that occasion? Now, Byron Pickett saved a certain goal. He was outnumbered 3-1. Look at this. That's almost a throw, I think, but he got away with it, and that's all that matters. He's certainly one of the most desperate players in the game, and he follows it up with a very good second effort here.
Even the tackle by McKee was very good indeed, but such an important game for the Tigers. Have a look at this smother by Richardson.
Capuano called to play on. Richardson smothered and then bolted, but Nick Daffy jumped on it, and look at that magnificent left foot. He is almost as adept on the left as he is on the right, and that really was a goal that got them back in the game. Mick Martins played a very good game. Thought he had a paddock, he'd better have a bounce and have a look upfield, and well, Justin Platt, didn't he accelerate, ran him down, and if you're caught bouncing the ball, it's a free kick, and the good thing was, just when they needed it, he followed it up by converting and kicking the goal.
We build it up as the big show, Richo at one end and Wayne Carey at the other. How do you assess Richardson?
Well, Richo started pretty quietly, but gee, he's dangerous. When he's running back towards goal, he's nearly unstoppable. He's the quickest player in the game. Just anticipated an odd bounce, it came over the top, and Otten's got the quick handball on. Poor old Jason McCartney, who was doing his best to play in front, caught out on a couple of occasions, and Richo made him pay on this occasion.
At one stage, the Kangaroos had booted 1 goal 7, I think it was, in that second quarter. Finally, they got the steadier from Anthony Stevens. You said during the call, the Kangaroos just seem to know where their left footers are and position that ball perfectly.
They certainly do. And actually, if you have a look at this, he's not the only player there. Brett Allison is also on the same side of the ground. The 2 left footers, because they're always trying to knock the ball back into the corridor. That's what Craig Scholl did. Anthony Stevens is there. He swoops onto the ball. You'll also see Brett Allison in the picture there, the 2 left footers. But then when you run back into the corridor, you're on your natural foot. And, well, it was a time they desperately needed the goal. It took one of their experienced campaigners to do it.
Yes, it was a time, as you said, desperate, because they needed a steadier, a stabiliser, and that took the margin out to around 14 points. That's what it is at half-time. As we check now on some of the stats to date in this game.
Well, look, there's not that much difference in the match stats at this stage. Centre breaks 9-5 in favour of the Kangaroos, but other than that, well, free kicks. Gee, there's an interesting one. I tell you what, Wayne Carey will not get one. He wouldn't get one if he was stampeded upon, but otherwise pretty even.
But he mightn't get one, but he would have something to say about it. 14 points the margin at half-time here at the MCG. Friday Night Football, it continues coming around 7 right after this break.
Welcome back to the MCG. We've got the Kangaroo boys back out on the ground. The Tigers are just making their way out now in readiness for this second half, being led out by Matthew Knights. 14 points is the margin at the long break. It was a 12-point lead to the Kangaroos at quarter time. Well, what's your gut feeling, Jason? 14 points, the Kangaroos' way. What do you think?
Well, I'll stick with the Kangaroos at this stage, Sandy. I think they were just starting to regain the ascendancy late in the second quarter, although you never know how teams will come out after half-time. I'll stick with them.
All right, I wonder what a boundary rider thinks. Dipper, you're a weather forecaster in the first term. You're reasonably correct. What do you think about this game at the long break?
Well, I think, like Jason, the Kangaroos had their opportunities to put them away in that second quarter, and the Tigers have hung in there. But I just think the Kangaroos will win this game. And as I speak now, the rain is falling once again. So important couple early breaks for either side in this third quarter. I think it's going to get heavier this rain. So back to you, Sandy.
Again.
Nostradamus.
Yes.
Come on, boys, get me off. I put my jacket on. My hair, look out.
Too late to do anything about that. Well, the Tigers are dispersed. So important for them, as we have said. Mark Miranda, who's come back into this lineup, is again starting the second half on the bench. There's Darren Gasper. Done a pretty good job, Jason.
He's done a very good job keeping Wayne Carey to 4 kicks, 2 marks, no handballs, but he has kicked 2 goals. And in the context of play, they're pretty important goals, the way the match stands at the moment.
And Carey looks like he's going to start in the middle, boys,
Yep.
and Gasper doesn't know what to do with it at the moment. And Abraham is out there as well.
Not a bad tactic, that. I mean, Gasper's been wearing him very closely, but all of a sudden you get a little bit of space in the centre square at the centre bounces, and well, I think Wayne Carey might be better suited to an on-ball role than perhaps a Darren Gasper.
So here we go. Second half, Kangaroos by 14 points. They're having a mighty struggle with the Tigers. Capuano up against Gale. Campbell got a sniff of it, but that was all. So too did Daffy. Bell tries to sock off the ground, down towards the half-forward line. First goal so important. Harrison's hand pass. Could be okay. They're not out of the woods yet. Blakey tries to hold it in. McKee sockers off the ground. Straight to Simpson. Simpson goes for home. And he misses, and Corey
screaming for it in the forward pocket, unmarked, and unfortunately Simpson didn't see him.
Body language saying everything as the horse Longmire ponders what might unfold in the second half. Bowden brings it back in towards Gasper. Carey spoiling from behind. That was effective. Spills free. No one able to get away cleanly. Almost dropped before the umpire decides that he will take charge.
Sam, you just saw the North Melbourne bench, or Kangaroos bench. We've got Robert Scott, Brady Anderson, Ammon Lang, and also Johnny Longmire, as you mentioned.
Lionel Proctor in picture there. Just starting out his career, game number 14. Capuano, Rogers. Kellaway back towards the centre. Chopped off by the running David King. That was his trademark, wasn't it? Clayton's hand pass. Put his teammate under the pump. Clayton goes again. Loses it to Daffy. Daffy kicks it high. Pickett and Carey both give chase. Carey chops it off across half-back and then proceeds to put it straight out of bounds on that outer side.
Just when the question mark was asked of Nick Daffy off the left, he just didn't quite hit that ball, did he, with the left foot? And the ball sitting up at half forward when they could have done with a little bit more penetration on that kick.
We've got Funky, Miranda, Dragosevic, and Ottens there, boys, for Richmond.
Thanks, Dipper. Early in the third quarter, Wayne Campbell hurried over the boundary line by Anthony Stevens, and the umpire will repeat the dose. Right where the Kangaroos unit enters the ground in the Great Southern Stand. McCartney doing the ruck work. Holland for Richmond. And now it just feeds its way out of the congestion. Grant receiving from Bell, tries to go over the top to Rawlings. The ball not really bouncing from Brady Rawlings. Gathered by Harrison. His kick is a disappointing one. Gathered here by Richardson. Grant, the hustler. Callaway, back to Richardson. If this is a goal, Richardson's followed that up beautifully, hasn't he? He kicks to the goal line, just to the left. Away from Martin, and Clapp goes through for a behind.
Everybody
They're still brawling. They're still brawling on the outer side. Finally.
2 goals, 3 to Matthew Richardson. 3 behinds. on the other side of the ledger, kicked by Corey McKernan.
Just the way he checked that ball, Matthew Richardson, everybody else, they looked like they were in slow motion. That was just terrific.
He's got explosive paces. There's not a defender around that can match him in that regard.
So after starting quietly, Matthew Richardson has had 10 possessions. He's kicked a couple of goals. David King to himself, then goes back to the goal square or right in front of it where Byron Pickett is marked. He goes down the ground. The player on his own is Clayton. He is at centre-half back for the Kangaroos. He will move it on now. Lobs the ball nearly to half-forward. High flyers, no one can take the mark. Bowden, gathered by Gale, shrugs the tackle. Hand pass away to Harrison. Harrison across the half-back line. Tigers have got the numbers out there where Holland releases Rogers. Rogers wider still, and Sampson is marked.
Clay Sampson just forward of centre wing. Holland screaming for it short. Sampson's hanging on to it for a darn long time. Now looks in towards the 50. Martin is edged out. And Richo is going to have a shot. He's firing 50 metres.
Well, look, we've talked about it many times, Robbo. The umpires are instructed if there are two actions, it's a free kick against the player who makes that first action to get rid of Mickey Martin here. Get rid of Mickey Martin, then go for the footy, and Mickey Martin's out of the contest. I would suggest that is a free kick for marking interference against Matthew Richardson.
Too early, wasn't it? Don't you think? I thought it was just fractionally too early.
Well,
against the defender.
The instruction they're given, Jace, is the two actions, and there is no doubt then there were certainly two actions.
Gee, Richardson, 50 metres out. Big kick, this one. He's away to the right.
Sandy Campbell coming off the ground. Looks like a blood rule. Travis Dragasevic onto the ground in his place.
Wayne Campbell, as usual, has been busy. 9 kicks, 6 hand passes.
Now, getting another go. There's going to be a repeat here.
And because the blood rule was on, and so play hadn't been recommenced, so they have to wait until the player is replaced before Matthew Richardson can take the kick.
Well, that's an unnecessary bonus.
He's had a practice.
There was no drama with the first kick.
Maybe he's got the miss out of the way now, Rob.
Oh, you're kidding.
There was no interference.
Bit on behind play too.
Yeah.
Shannon Grant and Duncan Kellaway having a bit of a push and shove.
Take 2 for Richo. Still 50 metres out.
Now that's not right.
I tell you what, he's kicked it. He has kicked it.
I'll tell you what, there'll be some questions asked about that.
Well, I mean, it's not as if the blood rule had any bearing on that kick whatsoever.
Well, look, here we see the kick come into Matthew Richardson, or the first kick, sorry, the one when the player hadn't as yet been replaced, so he misses the ball. He misses the goal.
It's probably all legitimate what happened, but surely that is just absolutely ridiculous.
To stick up for the umpires, they're not given the discretion.
No, I appreciate
not
that.
given the discretion.
Why was he allowed to take the kick in the first place?
Well, nobody can stop him. They can't. The umpire can't actually. I mean, he can tell him to stop, not kick it, but if he kicks it, what can he do about it?
Well, play goes on. It's a goal registered on the scoreboard. Kicked by Matthew Richardson. So the Tigers trail by 8 points. Mark to Harrison away from Rawlings at right half back for the Tigers. Ben Harrison, he's had a fair bit of the football, mainly mopping up across the fullback and half-back lines. His kick lands the ball at centre wing. Nearly gathered by Campbell. Holland, then Chaffey, back onto his left. Mark Chaffey kicks the ball towards half-forward. The ball spills to the back. Gathered by Carey, first to the left, then to the right, and does beautifully. Pinpoints Blakey. Hand pass to Grant. Grant goes back. Clayton over the top, Blakey. Beautiful running by Martin. Martin goes for goal. Mickey Martin, this will bring the house down. No, it won't. Brad Allison's goal will. Martin goal to Allison. So Brad Allison kicks his second goal to answer quickly for the Kangaroos, and they go out to lead once again by 14 points.
I thought they'd blown at the Kangaroos. They just looked as though they overdid the handball. A couple of them, they were a little bit loopy. They carried in the air for a while, gave the opponents a bit of a chance to put some pressure on. But in the end, a slick one from Johnny Blakey to Mickey Martin. A good kick and a good mark to Allison.
14 points, again the margin. Kangaroos making a change. Dipperell keep us in touch with that. Gale tries to win it out of the middle for the Tigers.
Scott on, Rawlings off.
Thanks Dipper, down towards Platt. He's got Picker. Martin's in trouble. Back he goes to Pickett. Towards Blakey. Belted clear of him. Some spike work going on at the moment with the Kangaroo boys. Now Capuano sets them going. King chips in towards half-forward. That's better. McKernan. I think it was Simpson involved in that thrust too. As Ottens comes back out onto the ground and flat off. So a chance to get a couple very quickly here for the Kangaroos. 14 points the margin at the moment.
It's a bonus, isn't it, to have this bloke with Matthew Capuano doing the ruck work and doing it efficiently. To have this fellow, I mean, he's about 6'5" in the old, big, strong body, takes a mark and kicks a goal.
51 metres out. Well, he has kicked that like he hits a golf ball. Darn well. McKernan gets his first.
I think you hit the nail on the head, Robbo. You've got a bloke this size that almost plays like a ruck rover. I mean, he's that mobile. And just have a look at this for a kick. Guides it down beautifully. Look at the follow-through. Lifts his entire body way off the ground. And he's put that through post-high from 50. Pretty happy with the result. Yeah, I'll applaud that.
Margin now to 20 points. So a dangerous time.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, Sandy. It certainly is the next couple of minutes. They've got to get one back, I think, the Tigers.
They need the next goal.
Yep.
Let's see what happens out of the middle. Gale, a late run. Simpson in the thick of things once again. Bowden caught, tried to get it out. McCartney takes them on. He'll lose it, spills free. Simpson ridden into the ground by Proctor. Out comes Bowden. Here's a chance for the Tigers. Bowden's kick. Richo going back into the pack. Couldn't quite take the mark. Does manage to get the hand pass out. There's been a whistle, and it's gone against Richardson. It's going the way of the Kangaroos.
Gee, players are plenty on the outer side.
He had to give the umpire a bit of a pat on the back there. He was in a beautiful position to make that judgment on a throw from Matthew Richardson.
Oh!
High flyer out there was Capuano, couldn't take the mark. Gathered by Stevens, accumulating. His kick is marked by Rogers, who you had a feeling that he was aware that there were people coming from everywhere there, but he took the mark quite safely in the finish. He kicks it wide to half forward. Richardson and Archer, still Richardson and Archer. Look at the way Archer went back in at the second effort. Just put tremendous physical pressure on Matthew Richardson to let him know that firstly he wasn't going to get an easy touch. That's a free kick too.
There's a handful of jump. In actual fact, they've both got a handful of jumper.
And in both instances, I don't think the umpire would have been able to see it because he would have been side onto their bodies.
Chance here for the Tigers. Shot at goal coming in from Chaffee has missed. Unfortunately for the Tiger fans, when they badly need a goal. The last couple have been kicked by the Kangaroos, and they lead by 19 points. We're still in the early part of the third quarter as David King runs into that right back pocket and then kicks with good penetration, well outside his defensive 50. Taken to the ground was Daffy. Blakey knocked forward for Campbell. Campbell with precision finds Bowden. Well done, Bowden. Richardson. Archer. Gee, was good there. He was out of position, Glenn Archer. He kept his footing and punched the ball over for a boundary throw-in.
Not a bad contest, this one. I know Matthew Richardson has the edge on pace. He's got that on everyone, but he won't have the edge in desperation, that's for sure.
And Archer's got a pretty good record against him over the years. Stevens tries to pluck it out of the air. Bell comes in over the top. David King, can he get out the back door? Gives it to Pickett. From the back pocket, Pickett goes back towards the centre. Benny Gale chops it off. Gale, who wants his key forward, edged out of it. The umpire calls play on. Mark Miranda, let's welcome him back as he swings around, goes in towards full forward. The mark is taken by McCartney on the last line of defence.
Brady Anderson on and Winnie Abraham off, boys.
McCartney, good kick. Capuano, perfect to Clayton going past. The Roos trying to mount something. Up to half forward. Holland, good grab.
Well, it was well done, wasn't it? He was out of position momentarily, got his way to the front and took the mark.
He's taken 6. Daffy, almost down to centre wing. Good kick. Finding Kellaway. Andrew Kellaway. Tigers sensing that this could be their moment in the next few minutes. This could decide the game. Otten's held it for a long time. They'll lose it. Now they have to go again. Proctor. Caught.
He is just the black flash, Byron Pickett, isn't he? I mean, he appears out of nowhere. He's like Zorro. Wish, 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 and he's got you.
I tell you what,
there you go.
They almost got caught out, the Kangaroos, with a little bit of over-awareness of Matthew Richardson, because 3 of them went up with Richo, and they all hit the deck.
Got to be a question mark over Zorro, doesn't it? Wish, wish, wish. Oh, golly. Ottens wobbles it down in towards the forward line. Bell running out of room, but he's disguised it well, and he's happy to see it over the line.
Wish, wish, wish.
Over to you, Zorro.
What do you think, Dipper? Didn't like that.
I agree with you, buddy. He's sensational. It's
Now,
just the way he puts himself down all the time, isn't he?
Yeah, Dipper, we're watching Winston Abraham. What seems to be the problem there? Looks like a
Hook
buttock.
in the backside, mate.
A buttock, yep. Clay Sampson. Now, the umpires found a free kick here, John. Interference in the ruck contest.
Yeah, holding just off that ruck contest,
Was
Robert.
it? Yep, Anthony Stevens, the recipient. He is in the left back pocket. Goes short. Capuano. They're still inside their defensive 50. And his kick, all right, for Adam Simpson. In turn, Stevens, who started that passage of play. Stevens' kick goes past Harrison with strength. He went in, and he really made a good contest. If they're to clear, they can thank Ben Harrison for showing strength. Out wide, the ball taken by Duncan Callaway for Rogers. Rogers has a very good opportunity here, but his kick falls short, and Capuano has been very good in just drifting across that half-back line and helping his key defenders. Simpson down the line, punched away from Carey by Gaspar. Very disciplined performance by Darren Gaspar. Gee, that was a good performance there too. And it was in the finish, Chaffee to Campbell. Campbell, the desperate look on his face. The kick is good. This time, Richardson. It's got to be nearly impossible, Jason, if you give him a chance to at least run with the ball in front of his face. The defender couldn't possibly get anywhere near it.
Yeah, that was a great kick by Campbell. Now, Glenn Archer is playing off Matthew Richardson. There's no point playing side by side, because if he leads, you're going to get left 5 yards behind. So Glenn Archer is playing a little bit in front of him, but that time he led to the side. It was a good kick from Campbell out in front, and there's not much that Archer could do about it.
Well, very important kick. Oh, it's an absolute shocker.
Richo of old.
It has not gone anywhere near the goals. As a matter of fact, it may have gone further away as far as Richmond are concerned.
High tackle.
Gaffey, maybe a high tackle. Capuano, Clayton, now the umpire in that vicinity. The boundary umpire, that is, has decided that the ball has gone over and it will be thrown in.
And Temper's getting a bit frayed as a result of that free kick not being paid. So that's what tends to happen. You see Nick Daffy grabbed around the ears. That is a free kick in anybody's book. And when it's not paid, the players get a little bit upset, and rightly so.
9.5 minutes remaining in this third quarter. Simpson at the bottom, joined by a couple of teammates, and it's another ball up.
See, what's interesting to look at the statistics of the two ruckmen. Matty Capuano's had 14 touches, 8 marks and 7 hit-outs, and Brendan Gale's had 17 touches, 5 marks and 12 hit-outs. They're both playing a kick behind. They're basically only duelling when they're having a ball up, and even when it's forward, Ottens is doing it for the Tigers.
Speaking of duelling, Steve-O and Daffy.
They were, weren't they? Yeah. Sandy, this is the Indian arm wrestle part of the game where Richmond is striving to try and get a score. They just can't break through, and their frustrations are showing.
Clayton almost threw that to Grant. Anderson was there as well. Rogers chips in and goes onto the right boot. Down towards Ottens. Martin. Miggy to Capuano. McCartney tumbling a punt back towards Clayton. Almost took the diving slips catch with the one hand. We've got a throw in. Ross Funk seeing it go over the line. 19 points the margin. Under 9 minutes remaining in the quarter. Clayton seemed to cop one in the back.
Well done, Daffy.
Play goes on. Daffy and Stevens, they're still at it. Little one almost went unnoticed. McCartney, desperate. Martin standing underneath. Takes it a half back. Kangaroo defence standing up at the moment. Bell's away. Tigers have the numbers. Harrison's got the height. Takes it from over the top. Goes short and finds Sampson. on the outer wing. Clay Sampson, disappointing kick. They may get away with this. Duncan Kellaway assists to Harrison. He chips short and finds Bowden. Joel goes onto the left boot, down towards the danger zone. Richo at the back. Play on. And look at them pounce on that like seagulls on a leftover sandwich.
You can see the
and Richo knows the opportunity's gone begging.
frustration on his face. He held Archer off well. He did everything right here. Kept his eye on the ball, had the ball, and it just slipped through. Even tried to grab it in the legs at the last moment.
When Archer had another handful of jumper, didn't he?
Here he is again, Archer, just trying desperately to get it over the line and concede it behind. He does that. 3 straight kicks in it.
It's this story, Jason, that you spoke of in the second term, when the Kangaroos had a lot of the football and couldn't put the score on the board.
Yep.
Richmond just pushing, just can't get through that defence of the Kangaroos.
Getting no reward for their efforts,
Yes,
and that's a very dispiriting or a disheartening thing if it continues.
Another look from overhead from the Lightship. The kick-in has been marked by Archer. He goes back to the player that brought the ball back into play, David King. He's about 20 metres out from goal and still has not gone over his mark, which is technically okay. And then he kicks out of bounds. No, centimetres in that.
There wasn't much in it, but I agree with the boundary umpire. We're in a pretty good spot here to observe that one. And I think the ball was fully over the boundary line. Here we see from the Lightship, fantastic shot. And I'll go with the boundary umpire.
Gee, that was close.
Benefit of the doubt.
Well, Richardson, if he can capitalise here,
that is a great kick.
He does kick across to the front of the goals where Ottens has taken a strong mark in front of Pickett.
Not only was it an intelligent kick because it was the right spot to kick to, he saw that Ottens had just moved down into the forward line. He had a bit of space, and Richardson gave every impression that he was going to have a shot for goal, and at the last moment he just hooked it across his body. You could see Brad Ottens standing 6 foot plenty against little Winston Abraham, Byron Pickett.
Yeah.
What hope did Pickett have?
Well, it was, I think you described that perfectly, Jason, and the ball with Brad Ottens, he has kicked 1 goal. He's just got to kick this one. They trail by 18. He can bring it back to 12. And he does very nicely. Ottens has kicked 2. So the margin in favour of the Kangaroos is exactly 2 goals. We've got 7 minutes left in the 3rd quarter.
Finally a return to their efforts, and on this occasion even Zorro couldn't stop that mark and goal. A much needed goal for the Tigers, and Brad Ottens delivers.
Well, they're staying in touch, aren't they? 2 straight kicks in it now. They're just chipping away. Next one, so important. Campbell rips it out of the middle. Long. It's got to be direct. Here's a chance. Sampson off the ground. Yes! Here they come. Clay Sampson gets his second. And suddenly, they are right back in it.
Gee, if body language counts for anything, the Tigers, they're pumped up. They're running from everywhere to pat each other on the back. There's a couple of Kangaroos with their heads down. Great effort by Pickett to recover after stumbling, but he just couldn't get there in time. And this is the perfect answer for the Tigers. A couple of quick goals, this game's alive.
It's amazing, isn't it? We spoke about the centimetres, a game of centimetres. All there was maybe half a foot in that. Yep. Pickett was nearly onto it, wasn't he?
Big one out of the centre this time, isn't it? 6 points the difference. Can the Kangaroos steady? They've shown that ability. Good hand pass from Capuano. He threw it to the umpire.
Now he did throw it, but I'd love to know how the umpire saw it from where he was.
On the blind side.
It certainly was.
I think Richard's not having a very good night tonight. he was definitely on the blind side, wasn't he?
Yeah, he certainly was there.
Well, let's see what the Tigers can do. Matty Knights in the middle of the MCG.
Sandy, Richmond have been inside their 50 14 times to 3 in this term.
Pickett, big fist. Pressure on the defence. Pressure on Archer. His hand pass towards McCartney. Bowden keeping him honest. Bowden goes again. Daffy in for the assist, eventually over the line. And we've got a throw in.
I'll tell you what, we spoke about body language a minute ago. When that last free kick came to the Tigers, all the Tigers down back took off. There was not a Richmond player in the defensive half of the ground.
Ottens and Capuano again. Ottens trying to do it with the left hand. Stevens and Daffy, they're like two pit bulls. Matty Knights, long way out from goal, off to the left-footed Rogers, but it's wide, too wide. A little bit of respite for the Kangaroos.
You wouldn't believe it, would you? A couple of his left-footers in the second term.
Been beautiful.
Jason, you made mention of them with pinpoint accuracy down the ground. Then, with not a lot of pressure on him, he's put it out on the full.
And it wasn't even close to a Richmond player either.
No way known. Peter Bell takes the free kick, kicks the ball back towards the centre wing area, where Clayton is first there with Ross Funky, and it will be thrown in front of the area at which the Kangaroo players enter the arena.
Capuano coming off, and he's doing it at the same time as the ball's being thrown in, so North might be a man short for a couple of seconds here.
Any thoughts there, Dipper, down at ground level? If the Tigers can draw level, what do you feel?
I reckon go all the way.
Richardson.
No, free kick to Miranda.
Well, it's probably advantage Richmond then, John.
Yeah, Clint Archer just creamed Miranda at the front of that marking contest, and the whistle went straight away, even though there was a shot on goal by the Tigers. And here we see Miranda at the front, and Clint Archer just absolutely barrels him. And Richo missed a shot anyway, so as you say, Robbo, probably their advantage.
Well, Mark Miranda, go on, Dip, sorry.
One thing Richmond are doing is getting the Kangaroos to overuse the ball tonight. And normally we see just a quick handball, a long kick, but tonight there's 2 or 3 quick handballs, and some good pressure by the Tigers.
A lot of time on the bench, Mark Miranda, but by gee, if he can capitalise here, the Tiger fans, it looks pretty good, is it? It's close. Goal! Well done, Mark Miranda. He's kicked the goal that has squared the ledger here. Friday night football, the Kangaroos and the Tigers, dead level. 5 minutes left in the third term.
Isn't that great reward for kicking a goal? You come straight off. But obviously he's going to be used in fits and spurts. Mark Miranda lacking a bit of match fitness. Put himself in the right position in front. That's where you get the benefit of the doubt. He capitalised beautifully.
Welcome back to Miranda and the big league. Kicks the goal, but now he's having a spell on the bench. Scores are level. Simpson out of the middle for the Kangaroos. They've got Allison flying to the bench as well. Dipper will keep us up to date with that. Powell almost threw it out. Tiger defence through Holland. They're away. Kellaway now. They've gone up a cock, no question of that. In towards the middle, and Daffy's got it.
Important possession there.
Look who's right there with him. The 2 number 10s. Daffy and Stevens. Kicks it up towards half forward. First to recover, Clayton, but he's taken out of it. Tigers have got the numbers. Popped over the top. An opportunity for Dragicevic. He's got to bend it back. And didn't have a good look, really. Carey takes the mark.
Abraham on, of course, you mentioned there, Sandy.
Wayne Carey in defence. Coming towards Longmire, who's just come on. Giving Capuano a spell. Longmire towards the centre wing. The big horse approaching a major milestone too. He's in game number 198 as Abraham goes over the middle. Big pack of players. The Anderson hand pass goes straight to Campbell. Campbell goes long up towards the 50. The kick's got to be good, and it was a beauty to Ottens.
21 possessions to Campbell.
Been very good. 10-10 apiece. Ottens somewhat laterally to Bowden.
You know, funnily, I don't think Richmond want three-quarter time to happen.
The momentum is certainly with them
It
at
is,
the moment.
most definitely.
Robbie Powell, a long way out from 50. And he's kicked only 3 goals for the season. 3 goals for, and that one did not trouble the score.
Duck egg. It's disappointing. I mean, the coaching staff would have been looking for an opportunity in front of the goal square, you would have thought.
Archer from Mark. Tigers virtually playing for survival. Kangaroos wanting some steadiness. Shannon Grant. They went to work on him in the first half. Grant is almost in the middle. He's run a long, long way, baby!
Well, it'll It'll be interesting to compare that one with the first quarter, Sandy, because it certainly didn't look as though he ran as far.
Tell you what, the bloke minding the mark would thank himself. Be lucky. Hey?
He's a bit stiff, Shannon Grant, because there was no one to kick to when he looked up.
It's a fair distance. Anyway, play goes on. There's a strong, hard mark, as we'd expect from Glenn Archer.
Did you count those steps? 11, I think.
I counted 14.
14 to Abraham earlier, and he got away with it.
I think Kangaroos have got to get better use out of Wayne Carey. I don't think it's working playing him down back. On the ball wasn't a bad option to give him a bit of freedom, but you've got to get him back up forward. They've got nothing to kick to when they go forward.
From halfback, John Blake. Now, who's waiting down? McKernan tries to slap it out. The Harrison hand pass to Rogers is okay. He puts it out in front of Bowden and Campbell. Campbell and Simpson going. Bowden closes to the boundary line.
Yeah, the half-back line of Richmond's played so well tonight, forcing Carey to go up the field.
Harrison's had 25 possessions.
As we speak, Carey just ambling forward.
Allison and Brady Rawlings.
And Scholl about to come on, probably go forward too, Jason.
Well, he's a goal kicker, Dipper. Craig Scholl. Kick forward, attempted hack out of there by Simpson. Knights receiving from Powell. Goes back to Powell. And was given plenty of chance to get rid of the ball. Harrison buried. Harrison now, couldn't have been Harrison that was buried because he got up pretty quickly if it was. And the mark is taken by Pickett. So Byron Pickett in towards half forward. Gee, those Tigers get back and make it congested at half forward. Bell and Callaway. Still a chance for the Tigers to get clear. Andrew Callaway was good too. And over the top was Bell. Taken away by Grant. Good mark taken back there by Harrison. Goes across the line and it may sit for Rogers. It does. And he does pretty well on this occasion because he was under a certain degree of pressure there. He kicked it with the right. The player coming in from his right side and he controlled, as we watch again, this is very well done by Matthew Rogers, to find touch about 20 metres further away from the Kangaroos' goal. Stevens goes back to King. King into the pocket. Harrison couldn't take the mark. Gaspar. Free kick is being paid. What's that for, John?
It was paid for marking interference, so obviously in the umpire's opinion his prime objective wasn't to spoil the ball, but it certainly looked as though it was from here.
Tell you what, he's played a game tonight, Ben Harrison.
Chaffee marks the kick from Harrison and in turn finds Callaway. That's Andrew, of course.
Yep. 11 possessions to Andrew Callaway. As we tick down to three-quarter time, Archer, Richardson, show of strength. Daffy. Stevens gives chase, but he won't get to Sampson in time. Richardson, here's a chance for the Tigers. No, he's run out of time. So Richo hands it over. He kicked one goal in that term. He kicked two in the first. And the Tigers have come back. Down 12 points at quarter time. Down 14 at half time. But they have hit back hard, restricting the Kangaroos to just 2 goals, 1 in that term, whereas they themselves added 4 goals, 3. Major contributors for the Kangaroos. Wayne Carey has 2. Them in the first half. Brett Allison has 2, whilst for Richmond, doubles to Brad Ottens, 3 to Matty Richardson, 2 to Clay Sampson. It's all tied up here at the MCG.
Welcome back to the MCG. We've got an absolute thriller here at the moment, and we hope you're enjoying it on Friday Night Football, coming away on 7 at three-quarter time. Absolutely nothing in a big comeback by the Tigers. They're 10-10-70, and they've joined the Kangaroos on that score. And I might tell you, when Robbo's not out at Mitre 10, he's on the computer. www. Now that is nearly as big a joke as being down at Mitre 10.com.au. And of course, the big feature on getting the footy on the internet and our website is that you can hear the commentary there as well. So that's an added bonus for you. Richmond and the Kangaroos tonight, Sydney Essendon Saturday night, Port and Brisbane tomorrow. Anthony Stevens, well, the two number 10s, haven't they had a battle royal tonight? Anthony Stevens and Nick Daffy. He's a ferocious little devil.
Points pretty even, I think, Sam.
Yeah, it is. It is. There's his opponent, Nick Daffy. Been very, very good. Wayne Carey, what do you think tonight?
He's probably been very disappointed with his 200 so far, I would imagine. He's only had 8 possessions, 3 marks and 2 goals, and he'll certainly be looking for a big one to get the Kangaroos home.
Matthew Richardson has 3 goals to date, and when he kicked his 3rd, he passed the club record held by Royce Hart of 369.
Hasn't played a bad game, Richo. He keeps presenting himself very dangerous around goals, but he'll need to kick a couple more, I think.
Speaking of terriers, Peter Bell.
He just knows how to find the ball, this bloke, doesn't he? Look at the enthusiasm about him too, trying to spark his teammates up around him.
And great to see Mark Miranda back, although he has spent considerable time on the bench. Kicked a goal, and an important goal in that 3rd quarter.
Oh, it is, and I think the most important thing is just his confidence, having played a senior game now. He'll get better each week.
Wonderful sight from the Goodyear blimp as we're about to get the final quarter underway here on Friday Night Football. Round 18. Fresh from the Goodyear blimp, Dipper.
Carey back in the forward line, and good energy in the Kangaroos huddle there at 3/4 time. And for the Tigers, you really feel the momentum's in the Tigers. An excellent 3rd turn by them.
Very interesting then, actually. Matthew Knights was actually told by the umpire to get out of the centre square. The Tigers had 5 in, and he was reluctant to move out, but eventually did.
You don't get a closer scoreline than that to start this final term. Simpson round the body with the left foot, up towards half forward in this titanic struggle. Abraham gives it to Shannon Grant, off to the veteran John Blakey. Blakey kicks them inside 50. They need a mark. They need a scouter. That was Anderson. It was thrown out, said the umpire.
It's against McKernan on Holland, I think, off the ball, Sandy.
Yeah, so Kellaway gives it to Daffy. They're out of trouble to the outer side. This is Chappie. Almost down to centre wing. Spears it in towards half forward. Richardson. Well, he had Sampson doing the roving work. He didn't need him. He goes long into the forward line. 1 out duel here. Ottens leads in the race. Needs support, and he gets it from Robbie Powell. He was reported earlier in the game, and he's gone with a left foot that's gone straight across the face. Tigers have got the numbers, but they went out of room. Bowden over the line.
Really got to question the option selection there by Robert Powell. I mean, he's a left footer. He's running in a straight line at the goals. I know it's a reasonably tight angle, but to then try and get yourself into the right position to kick a banana on the run is just the wrong option there.
Gee, I could pluck one from many, many years ago there, but it'd take too long. So we'll just get on with the footy. In the right forward pocket for Richmond, Anthony Stevens kicks it out. Just momentarily, Sandy, Brian Kekovich, who I played with way back in 1968 when we won the premiership against Essendon. He got the ball in that left forward pocket. He tried a screw punt kick off the left. It finished at centre half back, and Johnny Williams got it and put Essendon in attack. That's how bad his screw punt kick was.
And that's
Sam's brother,
31 years ago.
just around the corner. So North Melbourne, the Kangaroos, try to clear their half-back line. John Blakey, but it's gathered here by Knights. Usually very creative. On this occasion, gives the opportunity for Harrison to go down towards half-forward. Richardson, still Matthew Richardson. Little kick, not too bad. Sampson, Pickett cleaned him up, but he got back up on his feet and got back into the contest. Capuano away to Anthony Stevens. Stevens after 1 bounce, kicks the ball in towards half forward. No mark taken, the ball spills to the back of the pack. Back goes Harrison. Handball over the top, Rogers. Little left foot kick. Powell's a chance. The bounce for Robert Powell important. He gathers, then gives the hand pass away. Chaffee goes out towards the wing, and Richmond have a player out there on his his own, it's Duncan Callaway. Callaway's kicked to half forward, no mark, taken by Ottens, releases Bowden, he'll kick a goal. Joel Bowden kicks for goal.
Free kick down here, boys.
Who to, Gib?
To Archer.
Off the ball, was it?
Yeah, paid by the umpire in the middle of the ground rather than the umpire in control of the action at the time, Robbo.
Well, it really wasn't necessary either because Joel Bowden was always going to get his kick away.
I think he was frustrated at not getting the free kick initially when Archer pulled him down when he was trying to take a mark. Probably a bit stiff not to get it too.
I think you're right, Chase.
But Archer's done a pretty good job. He's certainly stuck to the task.
10 kicks and 6 marks to Glenn Archer towards John Blakey. Edging towards the 300 game mark as Blakey's been fantastic. Campbell keeps it in. Socket off the ground, back towards centre wing. Knights through some heavy traffic. He needs help. Bunky provides the assistance. Still on centre wing. First one way, then back on to the right, up towards the 50. Up there, floating across, is Jason McCartney to take a timely mark. He can go to the outer side. Got a couple of loose players. One of them is Capuano. Kangaroos have shown us that they can come back right on the deck. They've done so a number of times in close contests this season. And that was not appreciated by McKernan.
Gee, I wonder if he's going to go back and unload one from here. He'll kick from just inside the square. Gee, wouldn't you like to see a big barrel?
Well, he doesn't need to be pumped up anymore after that, does he?
Just the conditions not favouring the ball going long distances through the air.
Let's see what he can do. He's going for the drop punt. Gets a little underneath. It's high. It's into the square. Belted clear. Awaiting down his Knights. Taken high. Taken too high. He's got it at full back. Off he goes to Wayne Campbell. The Tigers away. Rogers to the outer side. Chappie if it sits. He cruises. Has a look in towards half forward. Richardson is again lurking. Martin is there as well. It's slapped clear. The danger signs are there for King. But he shows strength. He shows dash. And away he comes. 3 bounces. 4. Keep going, Kingy. He's in the middle of the ground. Looks up towards full forward. But the kick is going to drop short. Gasper at the back. Should tidy up. He's running out of room. He bends it around. Not far enough. He's gone out of bounds on the full.
Well, we've spoken about it all night. Pressure applied by the forwards. Carey just chasing Gasper then. And he probably needed to kick the ball along the ground because he was always going to be put under the pump.
Here's Blakey in game number 292. Any score will give them the lead. Try that on. Try that on.
Oh.
That is a big goal.
I think it's going to come down this quarter to who makes the most out of the limited opportunities they get. We've seen them missed at both ends all night. But all of a sudden, from a seemingly impossible position where you're probably looking more likely to centre the ball, he makes a goal out of nothing, and a couple of those to either side this quarter could be the difference.
John Blakey, the goal kicker, his first, gives the Kangaroos the lead. So Dragicevic has come off the ground. Miranda back into the fray for the Tigers. Bell. Callaway was the Tiger player who nearly cleared the congestion around the centre bounce. Now Kangaroos get it clear. Blakey brilliantly run down by Harrison. That was desperation personified. Carey and Gasper, and eventually Robert Powell takes it over. And Darren Gasper's disciplined performance on Wayne Carey continues. Carey just 8 possessions for 2 goals.
See what Ben Harrison's good night continues too. What about the chase on Robert Scott?
Right forward pocket for the Kangaroos. The ball spills for Anderson. His kick across his left shoulder will be marked by Andrew Callaway. Callaway right in the goal square. Goes very wide. Oh, spectacular leap and mark at Cadbury. A mark of the night. Contender to Shane Clayton. Kicks towards goal. It's a mark. McKernan. A clean mark in the goal square.
He was going through if he didn't mark it.
Amazing stuff. The ball dropping slightly as it was going towards goal. Everyone misjudging it except this player here who must surely kick a goal. And he does that. So Corey McKernan's second goal after kicking 3 behinds early in the game has given the Kangaroos a 12-point advantage with 15 minutes left in the game.
Gee, not a bad little mark. Shane Clayton, just the knee into the back of Mark Chaffee and took it clean as a whistle. He ran round, gave himself a bit of angle, and the ball was actually going through. McKernan got rid of his opponent, but then decided to take the simple chest mark, kicked the goal, and now a break for the Roos.
2 goals to McKernan, 2 goals now the margin. In favour of the Kangaroos. 15 minutes left, still plenty of time, that's not a worry. Tigers have got to find some scoring power and get it down to Richardson if they can. Here's Clayton, a Canterbury contender. Slapped away by Chappie, but they're not out of trouble yet. Simpson tries to get through. Stevens in the thick of things as well. Socket clear towards Ottens. The big youngster picks it up now. Goes with a hand pass out to the left towards Campbell. He puts them inside 50. Richardson almost took the slips catch. Archer used the body well. Mickey, you're under the pump. Martin loses it. Archer. He is caught by Miranda.
He had chances to get rid of the ball.
I'd like to see it again before I comment, Robert, because it looked like...
It really doesn't
Not
look like
even trying to throw it on his boot.
Great tackle, Mark Miranda. Now,
Richo was pretty good too.
He almost got one high initially. That's a hand over the shoulder. Probably entitled to be upset.
I think the reason he's nailed there, Jace, is because the ball wasn't pinned like the one earlier. If the ball is pinned, then prior opportunity comes into it, but the ball was not pinned, and so he had the opportunity to try to dispose of the ball by hand or foot.
Should have got the free kick first, though.
And elected to keep it on his chest.
Here is the 23-year-old from West Perth. He's keeping him in it. He's got it. Two goals to Mark Miranda, both coming in the second half. But that was the reply they wanted.
Well, he's a class player, Miranda. You can understand why they were so keen to rush him back after only 1 week in the reserves. And even if he just does a couple of classy things and kicks goals, I mean, he stayed in the contest. He tackled Martin, then he tackled Archer. Gee, this is going to go right down to the wire, isn't it?
Oh, look at Mickey Martin. He is just absolutely going bonkers. Obviously saw the
arm over the shoulder.
The over the shoulder incident. Campbell, he's been pretty good around the middle. Chaffee releases Callaway. Little kick by Duncan Callaway, good. He spotted Clay Sampson, and the kick was beautifully weighted. So Sampson, who's kicked a couple, gets it right down to the square, and Martin concedes it behind by bashing it clear before it reached Archer and Richardson. And Matthew Richardson, his game tonight, pretty good. He's kicked 3 goals, 4, and he's had 16 possessions, taken 6 marks. Brady Anderson off the ground, Shane Clayton back on, and David King kicks it back in for the Kangaroos. Goes pretty well straight down the ground. It's bashed back. Daffy, Knights, get rid of it, Matthew. Back to Callaway, hasn't kicked many goals, Duncan Callaway, and he's missed everything. He was under a little bit of pressure, but gee, I guess the brilliant goal kickers of AFL football certainly make something of those very slight opportunities.
Yeah, the players that are used to doing it, they know when they're under pressure and they know how to throw it on the boot and steer it towards goal. Just an uncommon situation, I think, for Duncan Callaway.
Oh, he loves them. He's kicked 5 so far this year. Martin to the outer side. Campbell goes to ground. It's flicked away from him. And we've got a throw in on that outer side. Just over 38,000 here tonight. Friday night football as round 18 gets underway.
You reckon they'll get a little excited if the Tigers kick the next goal and hit the front?
I think they will get a little bit excited, Robbo. Ottens. McCartney. Ottens wins it. Does well. Does it on his own in the end. Now, what can Richo do here? Had a lot of that ball. Miranda's there with him. Sampson, and straight to Shannon Grant. Grant goes to Archer. The Kangaroos out of trouble towards Blakey and Harrison. At the back is Bell. With him is Knights. That's a fine tackle by Knights. Play on calls the umpire. Blakey does, and he kicks towards centre wing where Carey comes steaming out. We've got a throw in on the interchange area.
And that's a very similar situation, Sandy. Peter Bell tackled, the ball not pinned, but Peter Bell seemingly not making any attempt to get rid of it. Quite happy to just sit there and let the umpire make the hard decision.
Blakey and Harrison contesting. Kellaway to Campbell. The left foot tumbling punt goes up towards half forward. At the back is Zorro.
Good hands.
Does it beautifully. Whiz, whiz, whiz to Peter Bell.
It's whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
Thank you. Off to Glenn Archer in towards Corey McKernan.
It was wish, wish, wish.
McKernan's in the middle. Well, he takes on Holland, and around he goes. Long, low, and wide. Andrew Kellaway from the back pocket. Steers it away to Matty Knights, and Knights cruises clear. Comes towards the half-back line as Platt comes back out onto the ground. Who's come off, Dipper? We'll check that out as Kellaway takes the crumbs. He gets caught. Chaffee in towards the middle. Blakey in front of Rogers.
Good mark, John Blakey.
It was a bad choice, Jason.
It was a bad option. He was looking for Rogers, but Blakey just stood tall.
Joel Belden, Sandy.
Thank you, Dipper. Pickett just gets his kick in time. Inside 50
pushed on
again.
Push as he kicked. Yeah, pushed as he kicked it, so the ball will come back to Abraham and Byron Pickett. Here we see it. He's pushed on disposal, so the ball comes back to where he kicked it from, rather than being relayed downfield, which would have been the case had he been kicked after disposal.
Kangaroos by 5 points at the moment towards Carey. He's got a hand to it. His hand pass goes astray. He's been under the pump. Kellaway's taken high by Scott.
Free kick. Free kick paid for holding rather than high, but as you called it, Sandy, you were right. Certainly tackled high, but the umpire has paid the free kick for holding the man. We see the right arm over the shoulder, so clearly a high tackle, but at least the free kick went the right way.
Well, I don't know how you differentiate between these two Kellaway boys as far as desperation is concerned. Andrew hasn't played anywhere near the football that Duncan's played, but by gee, he's quite equal to the task as far as that area of the game is concerned. The kick goes wide towards left half back, and it's punched away. Adam Simpson.
Show coming off, Robbo.
Yes, thanks, Dipper.
Allison on, show coming off.
Yes, well, both goal kickers, but very much Brett Allison, the opportunist, and try to squeeze a goal out of it as we have a look at the Richmond bench. And Joel Bowden and McKee, two of the players prominent. Clayton well tackled. Robert Scott tackled and harassed over the boundary line by Robert Powell. The umpire gives the all clear for a throw-in. It has been this score for about the last 3.5 minutes, 82 plays 77, and Richmond striving hard to just get to the front. And you would wonder, you know, if the momentum could possibly swing their way, if they could grasp the lead. Abraham, the football is red hot, absolutely red hot. Pickett slides with the football over the boundary line for a throw-in. Right on the players' interchange area, we have another look at Daffy and Abraham. Well, there's been no questions asked for the entire evening. It was pretty tough and willing early, and it's continued in that vein. Kangaroos through Simpson, tackled by Sampson, kicked away by Pickett, smothered off the boot, gathered by Clayton, releases Stevens off his favoured left side, and a good kick. Very good kick. Finds McKernan. He's too far out to score. He would have to kick his absolutely best kick from there. Goes for the drop punt to set it up. Capuano from behind, not paid the mark. Oh, brilliant punch away by Rogers. It was in the lap of Brett Allison, and Rogers reached over the top and got a fist onto it.
And the contact with Brett Allison was incidental with his attempt to spoil, as we'll see in the replay, and so rightly called as play on. Certainly high contact, but Rogers' only intention was to spoil the ball.
Carey falls over his teammate in Capuano.
Brendan Gale, no free kick in that ruck contest?
I didn't see one, Robbo, I must admit.
5 points the margin. Still plenty of time. What a great start to round 18. Gale goes a little early. Capuano wobbles one down towards Allison. Shannon Grant! Thank you.
Well, the Kangaroos can thank Brett Allison for that goal because he just attacked the ball. He had eyes on the ball. He had Knights coming from the front. His direct opponent coming from behind. He attacked it. He hit it hard. The ball spilled out to Shannon Grant, who did the only thing he should have been doing at the time, and that was getting front and square to the contest. We see Matty Capuano kick the ball forward. Look at Brett Allison just attack it. He took the two of them on. Grant in the right spot. One step, kicked a goal.
Shannon Grant gets his 22nd goal of the season. Certainly a steadier. Great work by Allison as we go back into the middle once more. Tigers now, real catch-up footy. Andrew Kellaway across half-back. Rogers, look out. You're gone. Winston and co pounce on that. Campbell does some fancy work, and he does it well to Rogers. In towards the 50. Oh! Cadbury! Zorro! As he almost got his teammate unaware.
What about that?
He's just landed, by the way. That's sensational. Pickett. And now Stevens. The Cadbury's contender from Byron Pickett. But let's get back to Blakey. Capuano up towards the 50. The Kangaroos go into attack. McKernan was the target. Carey's been very quiet. Goes on to the left foot. Just pokes it down into the forward line. Allison is lurking there. So too Chappie. Bowden as well. Allison still going. Tries to tunnel ball it backwards. Did pretty well. Rawlings goes in towards Scott. Scott will go into the open goal. Robert Scott. Now it's getting tougher for the Tigers in Mr. Geeshan.
Well, when it's come down to the pressure situation, the Kangaroos have just made something by sheer desperation, just persistence, pushing the ball forward, attacking it, attacking the player that has the ball. And look at this mark from Byron Pickett coming across the side of the pack. And then all of a sudden the ball's pulled forward. Brett Allison putting a lot of pressure on Mark Chappie, throwing the ball back. A good little hook coming from Brady Rawlings. He found Robert Scott all on his own, and there's a goal.
Brett Allison has been pretty good, hasn't he? I mean, the passenger play earlier that you highlighted, and again there, I think he created that opportunity. Kangaroos through Capuano. Now it finishes with Stevens. Stevens back onto his favoured left side. Kicks the ball 45 metres towards goal. Good mark taken by Brendan Gale.
Couldn't create something there, Brett Allison.
Allison heard the raps.
50.
It is a blatant 50, John.
Oh, it should be. I mean, knew he was going to arrive late. Matty Knights had taken the mark. The contest was over. And looks like a report. Now, the report will be for charging, because charging included in the definition is violently meeting an opponent who has just taken a mark. That's one of the criteria, and Matthew Knights had certainly taken the mark. Whether this contact is violent or not will be up to the tribunal on Monday night, but we certainly can say it was unnecessary.
It's a good 50.
Especially given the square's only 45 metres. It's a good one.
Well, it's Matthew Knights with the footy. Kicks the ball to within scoring distance for the Tigers. There a chance. Daffy, left foot snap by Nick Daffy, all the way to the goal line. It may have gone over, has it? No. Mark paid to Adam Simpson in the back pocket. Kicks it away. Oh, good play by Sampson. Pickett was a threes-on chance there, but Sampson, coming from nowhere, has knocked it clear for a throw-in. So still in the danger zone as far as the Kangaroos are concerned. Potential 200 gamer, Johnny Longmire, warming the bench. He's got a couple to go. Miranda, harassed, can't clear that congestion. Pickett tries to get it clear, succeeds. Stevens harassed, funky that player. David King, Sampson, got a hand pass into the clear. Grant, long kick by Shannon Grant, is well marked by Brendan Gale, who has been one of the Tigers' best in this game. Quickly onto his left foot out wide. Mark taken by Campbell away from Wayne Carey. Campbell right on centre wing. Tigers need to get the next goal. They trail by just less than 3 goals. Miranda, hand pass, Ottens, further away for Sampson, missed its target, and then was awkward and just hacked away there by Shannon Grant in the finish. No, it was Adam Simpson, was it? And it was Grant in the first place for a boundary throw-in, just forward of centre wing.
A very good option on that occasion. I mean, it would have been too tough. He didn't have the time to take possession. He was outnumbered. Get the ball going in your direction, and finding the boundary line was a bonus. 6.5
minutes left to play in Richmond's attacking half.
Campbell with the opportunity, putting them inside 50. What a catch by Richardson! Cadbury! Cadbury's all over the shop tonight.
That was a hanger, wasn't it?
Tell you what, have a look at what he does with his body here. Look at the angle and the stretch to drag it in.
Mr. Gadget could do that.
That is sheer athleticism.
Richardson directly in front. 35 out for number 4. Well, his kicking's let him down badly tonight. 3 goals, 5, and I reckon 1 slid off the side of the boot and didn't even make it.
Yeah, that was... Gee, this is a great mark.
That is just a great stretch. Keeping the eye on the ball all the way too.
Time ticking away. It's going to be a wonderful achievement if the Tigers are to get up, because they've only managed 1 goal so far in the term, and they've got to outscore the Kangaroos by 3 in the last 5 3/4 minutes.
Stevens, kick number 21. Been a good duel with Daffy. There looked to be a decent old shove out there.
I think Brendan Gale milked it.
Look.
He milked it for as much as he possibly could, and it's on the half-forward line, so you can understand him doing that.
Holland, just outside the 50.
This boy's a chance.
Well, they've just got to go for it now, don't they? 55 out. In towards the square, in towards Richardson. Spoil, taken towards the line by Platt. Pressure by Mickey Martin. Young Justin Platt kicked a goal in the 2nd quarter. Capuano and Ottens. They've got to convert here, the Tigers, still to have a chance.
Throw.
Called play on, down towards half-back.
Oh, he's
Rawley's dash is clear. Away he goes, showing pace, kicking towards Allison, who comes steaming out. Bowden is right there with him. Blakey picks up the crumbs, wobbles it in towards goal. It's still going. They need a sucker off the ground. It was touched. 1 behind. Desperation again by Andrew Kellaway. 95 plays 78. Kellaway staying with Robert Scott every centimetre of the way.
Just 10 points the difference between these 2 teams when they met earlier this year. Pretty close again by the look of it.
Ottens to the outer side. Gale. Brendan to Matthew Knights. 38,000 fans here tonight. Gaspar looks towards Campbell. Another prolific possession winner. Kick. Well, he got the hand pass away, but he's already had 20 kicks. Gives it to Gaspar. Goes to half forward. Miranda is waiting down. He belts it even closer to goal, but Mickey Martin's in the hole. And he spirals a puck back towards centre wing. Didn't look where it was going. Straight onto the chest of Harrison. He's got a number of players screaming for it down in the forward line. One of them is Holland. Plays on. Caught Campbell unawares. Simpson chips in. They're going to get out of trouble here. The Kangaroos are away through Pickett down towards Allison. He's going to have to beat a couple. Gets a poor bounce. Turns with Bowden. Bowden has the support of Gale. Caught, but he should get out of it to Bowden. Back to Rogers. Richmond from half back. Try to mount something. In towards the middle. Kick bounces once. Comes back to Knight. The hand pass from Ottens. Matthew Knights can't get on the left foot. Gives it away to Gaspar. Almost runs into his teammate in Proctor. They turn it over again. It's costly. Carey kicks it high to half forward. Rogers got a hand to it. Couldn't complete the mark. McKernan there. Bowden goes again. Blakey had it for a moment. Trying to get through was Bell. He's claimed. The umpire's put away the whistle. Sock it down towards the forward line. Robert Scott paddling the ball along in front. Continues to go. Almost caught by Gale. Andrew Kellaway is there. Allison got through. Kicking in danger. Some holding. In fact, the holding is going against Richmond. This could be the ball game for the Tigers.
Gee, they made a few blues in that little minute and a half of play.
They did. They had a couple of opportunities to clear the ball, but it's taken Brett Allison a while to win his spot back in the senior side. He's so creative up forward. I mean, if he was fit, he's one of the first I'd like to have in my squad, because he just gives you that bit of flair, that attacking option up forward that can produce a couple of goals, if not directly from him, from the way that he goes about his game. And he just keeps at it. He actually shielded the ball there with his legs, and he would have run after it. Brendan Gale didn't realise he had a teammate back covering, and unnecessarily in the end gave away the free kick.
So Allison can just about bring the curtain down. This for his 3rd goal of the night, his 5th for the season. Great for the Kangaroos.
Well, interestingly, Sandy, the umpire actually signalled holding the man for that free kick to Brett Allison, but as we saw on replay, it certainly looked as though it could probably more justifiably have been paid for a trip. But the signal was certainly, here we see here, Benny Gale throw the foot up. And I suppose the easy option is to pay the free kick to Brett Ellison for holding the man, but certainly didn't look the case in replay.
So 5 goals to 1 so far in this last quarter for the Kangaroos. We'll see them go sailing ahead after round 18. They register a victory against the Tigers Friday night football.
And they'll slow the game right down now. They're experts at doing this.
They've won 12 out of 17. This will be 13 out of 18. They are right now in second place behind Essendon.
Oh, come on.
Deliberate out of bounds. Dippy, you didn't agree with that. I thought that was Dipper screaming.
Yeah, it's an old timer here.
Screaming in anguish. Ben Holland, Archer, Pickett, sit underneath this.
Dangerous.
Oh, very well done. And he kicks the ball back towards the centre of the ground. Brendan Gale gathers, handball away to Bowden. Nearly run down by Carey, got the kick away and did it pretty well. Richardson is marked. And Matthew Richardson, if he'd have kicked accurately earlier, they may have put some scoreboard pressure on the Kangaroos, but he missed. He kicked 3 goals, 5. On this occasion, he's passed the ball off to Ottens, who certainly is within scoring range. 15-11 plays 11-12, so that's a margin of 23 points in favour of the Kangaroos. Good mark taken by Ottens in the finish. Not big stats against his name, but certainly if he can convert here, 3 goals will be a contribution. Player on the mark is about a little further away than 40 metres, so he'd need a decent kick to score.
Pretty strong crease too, Robbo.
Long run up by Brad Ottens. Good kick. Very good kick for distance, but not the accuracy. He's missed everything. It's out of bounds in the left forward pocket.
Yeah, the Blues have certainly picked up the last 2 or 3 minutes. And very, very squirrely here as we just saw the ball just get taken away by the Blues then.
It will be thrown in that area of the ground with under a minute left.
Tigers through Ottens, wobble it towards goal, and it's through for behind. They might want to give up this Friday night football against the Kangaroos. They've had 8 cracks at them, and the Kangaroos have won every time out of those 8 on a Friday night. Great record. They did play once on a Monday night, and the Tigers belted them. McCartney.
We've seen them do this a few times before. They'll chip the ball around, they'll kick it backwards if need be. They just try to keep possession. They'll look for a loose man, and every time the loose man gets it, he'll take his time, he'll go back, and then if he sees another loose man, he'll chip it around.
Martin has it half back. Mickey coming back into this lineup with Brett Allison. Both have been very good. Allison's got 3 goals. McCartney will not pick up another stat in the kicking department. It's all over. Victory for the Kangaroos. Points, final margin in favour of the Roos. So they steady after a somewhat inconsistent 4 weeks. It's Matthew Richardson going over to Wayne Carey, the king of the heir apparent, some are saying. He's got his 200. I reckon he's got the ball too. Dipper.
Yeah, he certainly has. He's got the ball at this 200. Firstly, Wayne, congratulations on 200 games, mate, but a very tough game tonight. We got up and won again. It was a tough game. We knew they'd come out. I mean, Richmond had to win this game, and it was a game that we had to win if we wanted to stay in the top couple, so we knew it was going to be a tough contest, and to their credit, it was a real battle. I'm just wrapped that we won. One thing about North this year, they can certainly come back from being in front, and also they took over halfway through that second quarter.
Yeah, we were disappointing in the third quarter. They come back, the scores were all locked, and we've been in that position so many times. We have an inner confidence very similar to that of the Bulldogs at the minute, and we think that we can win those close games.
And yourself, mate, you're playing the middle and the back everywhere tonight.
Yeah, a bit quiet tonight, but just wrapped. It was a great win. I'd rather kick a couple of goals than we win and kick 10 and lose, mate. I can tell you that.
Good on you, mate, gentlemen. Welcome to the 200 Club. Well done, buddy.
What a fine career he's had, Wayne Carey. Started a long, long time ago with North Adelaide in the South Australian National Football League.
And I tell you, watching some highlights the other night, I forget which show it was on, but Peter McKenna, one of our fellow commentators, picked him as a future star of the game in about, I think, in his early 10 or 20 games.
Well, not a bad call. Mind you, I think we do that a little bit too easily and readily these days, but on that occasion, pretty much on the money, wasn't it?
Oh, very much so.
Finished in the top 10 in the Brownlow on 4 occasions. He's led the league in marks on 2 occasions. In fact, he averages throughout his career 7 marks a game, which is an outstanding stat.
If you're trying to sum this game up, what do you think, in as few words as possible, is the difference between these two teams, Jason? Is there anything is it just a little bit of polish, or is it a little bit more desperation, or what do you think it is?
I think experience is on the marks. I think they have better composure in tight situations and pressure situations. They're very predictable in the way they play the game, whereas I think Richmond a couple of times didn't quite know which option to pick, what to do under pressure, nor did their teammates. And I just think when you're predictable and consistently predictable to perform under pressure, it just tells in the end. That's why they win so many close games.
Fair enough. Well, Brett Allison there. Brett Allison, wasn't it? It was. He kicked 3 goals, Sandy, so he'd be pretty happy
for them.
Yep.
Yeah, look at that. Dennis Pagan realising the importance. He booted 1 in the first term, 1 in the third, and 1 in the final quarter.
Sandy, if Wayne Carey gets $1 million next year and the coaches are supposed to get the same as the leading player, Dennis is on $1 million a year.
Here comes the choir. I've just got to learn those words to the new song that says there's a kangaroos. But, well, we'll have to wait and see if they're going to be premiers in '99. But back on the winning track tonight. Eventual margin 22 points. A searching Robert DiPierdomenico is lurking in the rooms. Might be able to have a chat with Denis Pagan. In fact, Dipper, let's go down to you. Dipper.
Thanks very much, Sandy. You're on. Are you with us?
Yes,
yeah,
we're with you,
mate.
my boy.
No worries at all. Well, Dennis, just a terrific win by the boys then tonight.
Yeah, we're pretty ordinary in the third quarter, Dipper, and we came back well in the last quarter, and we played the sort of footy that we wanted to play, and it got us home in the finish.
It's a trait of the Kangaroos this year. They can certainly come back after being 2 or 3 goals down.
Yeah, it was a pretty tough game. It was fought close in, and the Tigers had a lot to play for tonight. And I thought our boys, when the question was asked, they were terrific.
Had a lot of faith in Matthew Capuano tonight. You had Corey McKernan who played centre half forward all night. It's terrific to see him back after those 2 knee operations.
Probably Matthew's probably as technical as anyone at the club with his ruck work, and to think he's come back and virtually played 4 quarters and got some 20-plus possessions and rucked pretty well. We're pleased with Matthew, and Corey gave us another option up forward.
And 200 games on the man himself. Did you say that anything to the boys before the game?
No, we don't talk much about milestones. I spoke to Wayne during the week and I said we weren't going to mention it before. We'll talk about it tomorrow morning at our recovery session, and the club will make a presentation then.
And Brett Allison, he's back in the side. He plays that 4 pocket beautifully, doesn't he?
Yeah, his 3 goals tonight were a plus, and he's had to wait a long, long while. Got his chance and he really grabbed it, and he's probably the fittest Brett's been for a long while, and probably that's the most important thing that come out of Brett's performance tonight.
Well, thanks for joining us on Channel 7, Sandy. Back to you, buddy.
Thank you, Dipper. Well done, Dennis Pagan and the Kangaroos. The eventual margin 22 points here at the MCG as we take a break in Friday Night Football. Win number 13 for the Kangaroos in season 1999. Did it well in the final term, 15-11, 101. The Tigers, 11-13, 79, 22 points, the final margin.
7 Sport hope you're enjoying this match as part of the 1999 Coca-Cola AFL Premiership season.
And they do have that uncanny ability, don't they, Jason? Scores level at 10-10 apiece at the start of the final quarter, but the Kangaroos, as they've shown, if they've got to come from behind, they will. Even if it's tight like it was tonight, they can put the foot on the accelerator.
They have. They're very good finishers, very cool under pressure, the Kangaroos. I mean, we see some of the highlights in the last quarter here. There was great pressure by the forwards at both ends of the ground. Carey, who had a quiet night, putting the pump on Darren Gaspar, and in the end, well, here's a goal made out of really nothing. Johnny Blakey, who Gary Lyon correctly picked as perhaps the most underrated player in the competition earlier in the week. Look at this for a goal. And that's when goals were hard to come by and they were sorely needed. He produced one.
Not bad for game number 292. Just go back and go bang in a pressure situation. It was a big goal.
It certainly was. Here's a kick out from Andrew Kellaway. The big mark from Shane Clayton. Now, this, again, making a goal when you didn't think he's a serious chance there. It would have gone through if Corey McKernan didn't take the mark, but he got rid of his opponent in Ben Holland and went back and kicked the goal. And this is after we'd seen both sides waste a few opportunities. The Kangaroos, under pressure, were good enough to make the most of theirs in the last quarter.
No major standouts tonight, Jason, but overall a good team performance.
It was, and I think that's a great thing when they can have a win like this and get, I guess, minimum input from a Wayne Carey.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably a good reason for Denis Pagan to be very, very pleased. I mean, Carey kicked a couple of goals tonight, but he was reasonably quiet. They had some good contributors all around the ground. Manny Capuano and Brennan Gale, they had a great duel. And I still think he's a very important player if they're going to be competitive in September. Brett Allison, he just gives them a great creative attacking option up forward.
Yeah, great comeback by Allison tonight. He came back with McMahon. Allison booted 3, and it was all over now.
Again, Brett Allison here leading for the ball, and whilst he doesn't get it, he's still involved in the play. He harasses Mark Chaffee, he breaks the ball free, he then taps it back into the forward zone, and then we see Brady Rawlings hook the ball around. Robert Scott, who had a pretty quiet night, spent most of the night on the bench, makes another goal when the game had to be won.
And it was all over to the tune of 22 points, some of the major stats. And free kicks all night were in favour of the Tigers. At one stage 5 v 13, in the end it was 13 v 24.
Yeah, it's the only real discrepancy, the free kicks, isn't it?
So, as I said, a pretty even performance. You're the man that's got to do the voting, though, for our Footballer of the Year. How'd you vote?
It was pretty tough. I ended up looking at the midfielders. I don't think there were any dominant forwards. The ruckmen both shared the honours. They both had good games. But Peter Bell worked tirelessly, picked up a lot of the ball. Anthony Stevens did a good job on Nick Daffy, as well as picking up plenty of possessions. When they talk about Matthew Richardson, well, Wayne Campbell's just as important. He's been great over the last 6 weeks for the Tigers.
Yes, they were, in fact, the midfielders we talked about prior to the game starting. Peter Bell and Anthony Stevens and co at it once again. We're going to take a break from the MCG. Kangaroos led by 14 points at half-time. They stretched that to 22 points at the final siren. As we check the leading goal kickers, firstly for the Kangaroos, it was Brett Allison coming back into the lineup. He booted 3, couple getting 2, namely Wayne Carey and Corey McKernan, whilst for the Tigers, Matthew Richardson led the way with 3.
The 1999 AFL Coca-Cola Premiership season, proudly brought to you by Telstra, making life easier. The McDonald's Footy Burger, the double quarter pounder with cheese. Foster's Light Ice for extreme refreshment. And the new Mitsubishi Magna 3.5, the next generation.
So what did the win do tonight as far as the ladder is concerned? Well, it sets up a top 4 spot as far as the Kangaroos are concerned, but on the other end of the scale, it probably says farewell to the Tigers as far as finals aspirations are concerned, Jason.
It does. A pretty congested ladder, and look at that traffic jam for 6th, 7th, 8th spot. There's going to be a few interesting clashes in the weeks to come.
Well, speaking of the weeks to come, let's have a look at the run home now, and we can see just how tough it is going to be for Richmond. They play Collingwood, the Bulldogs, and Essendon and Carlton. Well, 2 very tough ones there. Kangaroos, on the other hand, have got Sydney. It'll be a big game. St Kilda, a big game. Collingwood, and they finish the home and away playing the Adelaide Crows. But let's turn our attention now to the remaining matches, and we'll look ahead because there's some fantastic games for the next 2 days. I know you've got the weekend off. That's fantastic too, but probably the pick of them, Jason. Well, what, Sydney and Essendon, the SCG tomorrow night on Saturday?
Yeah, look, there's some big clashes right across the weekend. St Kilda must beat Adelaide. Melbourne and Geelong toss the coin, but won't have any impact on the finals. Sydney and Essendon's the big one. West Coast should beat Collingwood. Port Adelaide and Lions, another big one. Carlton, the Bulldogs, Hawthorn and Freo.
So there it is, round 18 of football. Just check your local guides as far as viewing is concerned. Hope you've enjoyed tonight. Kangaroo fans would have home by 22 points.